Everybody, welcome back to another day, another week, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we were going to talk about a whole bunch of different things, but right before the stream went live, Xbox decided to empty their laundry bin into our washing machine over here. So here we are. Lots of stuff to talk about with Xbox. They just did mass layoffs. Just got announced that Microsoft has laid off 4,800 employees today, 1,600 Xbox employees impacted by this. We're going to be talking about Double Fine, Compulsion Games, Undead Labs, lots of stuff to talk about this morning. So thumbnail, links in the description, all that will have to get fixed as we go or at the end of the show before you guys watch the vlog or the VOD afterwards. So how's everyone doing? Did everyone have a great 4th of July? Did you guys watch any of the fireworks before we start talking about the firings? We had a nice time. We went over to a lake over here. It's called like Lake Butler. Well, one of the canals off of it. There's another side lake. I forget what the lake is called, but basically Lake Butler. And we went out on the boat, and we don't have a boat, but my brother-in-law has a boat. We went on a boat. Did some fireworks, had some burgers and dogs. It was a good time. It was a really good time this weekend. And then afterwards, I watched a lot of fireworks on the fireworks the displays that happened throughout the country. Did anybody happen to see? Because it happened late. It happened at like midnight, the strike of midnight in Washington D.C. Holy Christ! Okay, usually they have like a million. Or I'm sorry, is it a million? They have like 100,000. I think it's like 100,000 fireworks that always usually go off. All right, they did 850,000 ammunitions up in the air. It was 40 minutes of nonstop, just it was insane. And the finale was because the fireworks have been going for so long. The smoke was like so engrossed in the air that when they did the finale, it literally looked like a bomb went off because it was just solid yellow, and it was just I was like, holy Christ. It was good though. It was good. Watched some drone shows on the internet, what they were doing across the country. Very cool stuff. What's going on, chat? Let me see who's all here. Good morning, Eclipse, All Turn, Water Bear, Aku, Sarge, Jason, what's going on? Good morning. Travis, good morning. Who am I missing? We got Jesse Mack. We've got Scroll down. Wonder Rose, good morning. Roic, good morning. Shadow, good morning. Apollo, what's going on? Good morning. What's going on, Ron? All right, let's see here. Travis says 4th of July was spent with the family. Threw out my back, tossing a niece in the air. Nice. Yeah, that's what age will do to you. Yeah, that's what age will do to you. Sarge says, what the fuck? You fire people on a Friday, not on a Monday. My God, Microsoft has no soul, at least on a Friday. Damn. Well, they probably did it on a Friday. They just announced it today. Shadow says, video game industry has been crapped for years. So glad I never got a job in that field. Well, I think the problem is, this happens in every position, right? It's just that because we follow video games, like if I was following like law firms, you know what I mean? Or if I was following like distribution companies, right? And this was a channel about that stuff, you would hear that and you'd be like, man, I'm glad I didn't get in that job. I think it's because we follow video games. Obviously, it's more amplified. I don't think this is like an outlier. This is happening everywhere in all different companies and businesses. Rogue says, my sister made burgers and dogs. She wraps hot dogs with the hamburger meat and smokes them. Oh, nice. I'll have to try that. Ron says, Bloodbath Day. That's right, it's Bloodbath Day. National Bloodbath Day. Sony killing the physical media is now bigger than GTA 6. Waterbear says physical media has been dead. Sony isn't killing anything. That's not alive. Yeah, everyone's getting fired across the board. All right, let's start off. Let's see. We got Asha Sharma here. we got from Inside Gaming. Breaking news. I have to make a breaking news thing. Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, because we do a daily morning show, we're one of the few people that talks about it right away. Other people will talk about it later in the day. Other people will make videos about it. But we talk about it live right here. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on, Roadkill? So, again, we were going to talk about 3 completely different stories, but now Xbox was like, just drops the mic and says, Sony had last week. We're going to take over this week. That's very nice of Sony to back down. And Microsoft to come in so they could fire 4,200 people. So Asha Sharma, full memo on Xbox layoffs. On Monday, the news everyone expected was made official. Xbox is laying off 3,200 people throughout the fiscal year of 2027. Okay. The announcement came in via a memo from Xbox CEO Asha Sharma. Before going any further, consider downloading. No, I'm not going to download your stuff. 1,600 people are losing their jobs today. Okay. Just today. But the rest of them are going to slowly lose their job up until fiscal year of 2027. So the announcement confirmed that 1,600 people would lose their jobs on Monday. The rest will come throughout the year. Isn't that nice to know that you're like, all right, we're firing 1,600 of you, but the rest of you, the other 1,600, will get slowly fired over the course of the next half a year. Happy 4th of July. Okay, so it says, team, we're beginning with the most significant restructure of Xbox history. After careful consideration, I've made a difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 throughout the fiscal year of 27. Okay, this will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today. In addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox and to new management, and I recognize the year-long restructuring creates an additional challenge. Unfortunately, it is not possible to make all necessary changes in a single day, and I wanted to be direct about the scale. She would have fired everybody. But it's not possible to fire everybody. We need them. We need some of you to get fired next week and the week after, the week after that. Okay. So I know this is painful. These changes will directly affect people who have poured their creativity into building Xbox. Many joined us through acquisitions, while also others were restructured sought out because they loved the industry and loved Xbox. Today, decisions do not reflect their talent and dedication. So like Tim Sweeney said a couple months ago, we're not firing a bunch of people. We're releasing them into the wild so other studios can get the talent, right? That's what Tim Sweeney said. So it says our business today is not healthy, and we're operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than a comparable platform and publishing business. We entered the Gen 9 with the smaller install base than the higher cost structure to grow. We bet on Game Pass, multiple platforms, and broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have been creating meaningful value, just remember this, everyone. Last year, they reported record high profits. Just letting you know. Record high profits last year. And boy, did we forget about that real fast. Okay. As what happened, our core business weakened. Okay, and added more teams, more investments, more time, hoping for better outcome. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in the history. We must reset Xbox. Mind you, they've all did this. They all created this themselves. Why? Because of greed. Okay, first, we will all reset our content portfolio. Since 2018, we have aggressively expanded our studio portfolio, while the number of games created each month across the industry now outpaces the last 10 years combined. We now find ourselves competing not only with the largest publishers, but also with smaller independent studios. If there was only somebody that knows nothing about video games that has a channel that talked about stuff like this years in advance, if anyone could see the foresight of what would happen. It neither is possible nor desirable to own every great independent studio. We have also learned that we've also not best home for every type of studio. In a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. As we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed and providing open development tools and audiences to realize their vision. Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP catalog and run away for the next games and run away for their next games. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join a new ownership with funding to complete with Grow of Senua and State of Decay 3. In France, Arcane's management is being required consultants with also works council to review potential strategic options. Sounds like they're on the chopping block over there. We're also making reductions across other units, and in some cases, shifting investments to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in sizes across Activision, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. None of the first-party publications announced games for projects are being canceled as part of this reduction. Okay. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me. These two studios have increasingly become platforms that are the largest by monthly active users and by bringing critical geographic, demographic, and differential to Xbox. Right? They're the most profitable. That's what that means. They're the most profitable. So she's like, I'm going to watch them because I don't trust our management, because management's been shit, leadership has been shit. So we're going to take the two big guys, Mojang, King, you're coming over to Asha's. Come on over. You're gonna be watched by me, making sure that we don't lose this, because this is the only two profitable ones that we've been going for all these years. It says, we know that the great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts, the company works past through as many as 14 layers of management. That is mind-boggling. I hope that the 1,900 people, whatever they did, 1,600 people, and the 3,200 people that are firing, I hope majority of those are within the 14 layers of management. 14 layers of managers. Managers have managers that have managers that have managers that have managers that have managers. What are we talking about here? Leadership. Yeah, that's right. Leadership. Nice one. Nice one, Water. Leadership. Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation. Even as our player base and play time have declined, the complexity has slowed decisions, blurred accountability, and made it harder to deliver to the players. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy that we talk about this type of stuff. Me and Sarge talk about this on GXG for years, about leadership and how most of these companies, when you read these stories, it's all about the leadership. And now to know that there's 14 layers of management, which we knew a couple months ago when they talked about it, okay, is mind-boggling to say it out loud, like for actual facts. Be like, yeah, there was a lot of upper management, people that don't understand games, people that don't understand leadership, people that can't even manage people are in these positions because, well, that's it, because they're there, they're just there. It says we will reduce management layers to no more than 5, where possible 3. Holy Christ. I think 5's too many. I'll be honest with you. I think 5's too many. 3 maybe. Okay, we would deliver success through flatter organizations that built around makers, individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, leaders who remain deeply involved with the work while developing their teams, and directly responsible individuals. All right, so these are the 3 positions now. Okay, 3 to 5 positions. So now they're individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, leaders who remain deeply involved with the work and developing their teams, and directly responsible for individuals' DRI, who own key decisions and outcomes. And we will also streamline how we work across our tools with a cleaner code base, shared services, and 50% reduced vendor spend. Here's the big thing. I hope that everyone they fired, okay, because there could be a lot of talkers within this 5 to 3 set of managers now, okay, for each of the companies, where they talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk, and they realize that they actually weren't the problem, right? Like, the ones they got rid of weren't the problem, but the ones they kept are the problem. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they fired people, yes, because there's just an abundance of them, and they don't need them all. But now the guys that are the talkers, the people that could fake it till you make it, but they never make it because they're just faking it the entire time, okay? It says, third, we're resetting how we operate. As Xbox, we grow our headcount. We become more fragmented. Teams, studios, and functions often operate independently and become harder to work towards shared goals, make the right trade-offs, and get things done. How? Okay, let's just break this down. We become more fragmented. The team studios. Okay, well, if you're on a team, that's why it's called a team. I don't know if you guys know this. Okay, like a basketball team, a baseball team, a football team, right? Even if you're working at a business, you're on the same team. You're all on the same team, meaning you shouldn't have bickering within your team because you're all looking for the same outcome. You want to be successful. Okay, so team studios, right? Functions often operate independently. Well, if Double Fine and Ninja Theory and Undead Labs, they're 3 separate teams. They shouldn't have to work together, right? They're just worried about their things that they're creating, right? They operate independently, right? It says it's become harder to work towards a shared goal. Shared goal is to make a game sell a game. Each of these companies are their own entity, own team, running independently, and some guy, I don't know, let's just call Matt Booty, okay, is supposed to overlook them and go, what's going on over here? Everything good? What do you need? You need more help? You need more people to help you with this? Us people? What do you need from us since we're hands off? So much hands off. Redfall was an absolute disaster because they're like, yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Okay. Meanwhile, other things they get involved in, they're like, yeah, you're almost done with Blackbird, the new MMO. Yeah, we need to cancel that. Oh, Undead Labs, you guys have been working? No, we might cancel you. We're not sure yet. So for the first time, we're establishing a chief operating officer with the end-to-end PL, responsible across content, hardware, platform, and services. Okay, Helen has been promoted to the role and will report directly to me. Over nearly 2 decades at Xbox, okay, has helped build some of the most important businesses from Xbox Live to leading Mojang and Minecraft franchises. She will bring our business together under the operating model, making sure we make clear investment decisions, learn from our success and failures, and hold ourselves accountable for our results. Now, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe the accountability when I see it. Okay? It says, thank you to Dave McCarthy, who is also retiring after 17 years at Xbox. Dave has played a defining role in building the platform that millions of players relied on every day and has been trusted partner through many of the biggest moments in Xbox history. We wish him all the best. Oh, he took the fall. That guy's the problem. He retired. That's nice of you, Dave. Thanks for taking one for the team that we all work together on. These changes are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. The next decade of gaming will be larger, more global, more creative than anything we've ever seen before. This year, we're invested as much as Xbox as we ever had. But we're also invested with greater focus, greater discipline, greater clarity, and all the services making Xbox where the world plays and creates. Like, all this talk is great. Transparency is fantastic, but it's all hoopla. Let's be honest, chat, right? Actions are louder than words, right? For 2 decades, well, not even 2 decades, for 2 generations, sorry, for the last Xbox since Xbox One, so about 13, 15 years, they've been dying, right? They were dying back in the beginning of Xbox One. Thanks, Don. Okay. And then they tried to fix it. And then Phil Spencer came in and tried to fix it. But then Satya Nadella came in the exact same time, saw what was happening with Xbox and said, no, we're going this way. You're going to do what I say. And he's like, I can't do anything. Right? So they did the exact same thing. Now they're bringing Asha. And it's the same. Same old. Same week. Different week. Same shit. Now, when we see time, it'll be 2-3 years down the line to see the actual changes that are happening. Because saying one thing and doing one thing are completely 2 different things. Now they've said it, now they have to implement it. And once they implement it, then they have to complete it. Well, there's companies already in development or studios already developing the games. And if the games come out broke, buggy, unfinished, and made for Game Pass, because when you fundamentally make games for Game Pass and not to actually release a game, the way they're developed is sort of like how Suicide Squad was developed, right? Like we read the article last week. They were making the store. They made a store and disguised it as a game. With games on Game Pass, they make it where the longevity sits there so people keep paying monthly payments, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens as far as the results of all these firings. Because let me tell you something, shocker, not just the other firings that are going to happen throughout the rest of the year, But even this time next year, there will be more firings because that's what they do. That's what companies do. So history is in full companies, and the mistake, longevity, inevitability will not be one of them. So what do you think? Everything that's happening at Xbox. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Join the discussion. Okay, so there you go. So chat, what do you think? These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. All right, what's going to happen with Xbox now? Okay, they get rid of all those people. Let's see what you guys are saying in chat. Mr. Z says, come on, 30. Nope. The mid-management all get moved around. That's right. They just get shuffled around like the cup game, you know? Shadow says, the problem with subscription-based services is how high can you charge without losing a significant portion of your base? Well, here's the thing, Shadow. They're so close to the answer to what they want. They're so close, right? We've always talked about, or I've always talked about, how I like PlayStation's model about their first-party title games, like their single-player games and stuff like that, right? I've always said, right? I use Game Pass because as a customer, it's good. It's good. It's like Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, Albertsons, wherever you used to rent your movies back in the day, right? There's no difference on those subscription services like that. That's what they are. Those are Blockbusters. Those are those types of places, okay? The problem is when you have your brand new games come out day and date and no one buys them. See, there's a difference when it's digital and when it was physical. When it was physical and brand new games came out and they went to Blockbuster or they went to whatever your video store you had, there was only a certain amount, 3 copies, 5 copies, 6 copies. So people had to rent these games, and if they weren't there, then they couldn't play them. So they had to wait. So they would go, oh, I'm going to go buy it. But now it's all digital, and now it's on a subscription service. So your first-party title games get played, and they never get bought because you could just continue playing them until you beat them. Where before you were renting it again and again and again because you only had 2 days of rental or 3 days of rental. Okay? So if they just took off what PlayStation did and didn't put their first-party titles on Game Pass day and date, as a business, that makes sense because then they would release the game, people would buy the game, and then people that didn't want to buy the game would wait. And then like a year down the road, they would put it on Game Pass, and that would be fundamentally okay because then they've already made majority of the money that they could make off the people that wanted the thing now. Then they would make more money after because people were interested in playing the game, and they would get the subscription model, right? And on top of that, when you make a game that's $250, $300 million and you put it directly onto the live service, look what happens to the movies. When you take a movie that's $300 million and put it on a streaming service, guess what? You're not making your money back. Amazing, right? So why would it be different on a streaming service for a $300 million game? It wouldn't. But if you have 50 million, 30 million, 20 million, or less, made a game and then put it on there, they would make their money because less people will go, oh, you know what? I would never play this game. I'm going to try it on Game Pass, and they give the money to the lower people. These people didn't spend as much money making that game. It makes sense for smaller games on a Game Pass, on a PlayStation Plus, right? All these streaming services, it makes sense. But the big games don't make sense because they cost way too much money to make. Water Bear says, so it sounds like too many chefs in the kitchen at once. Yes, and it still sounds like there's still a little too many people in the kitchen. Sarge says, vindicated, bro. Altered says, no wonder why shit was never done. If you were doing something, you have to go through 14 people to get approved. Yeah. And then that person's like, so it's like, I want to improve something. I have to go through you, Altern. And then Altern has to go through Sarge. And Sarge has to go through Water Bear. And Water Bear has to go through Shadow. And Shadow has to go through Mr. Z, right? And then we finally get back and they're like, yeah, okay, we could do that. Like, what are we talking about? Water Bear says, do they even need 5? 2 at max. I was saying 3 maybe, right? So I agree. 3 max. Altern says 5. 3 is more reasonable. That's what I'm saying. Sarge says 5 managers or 5 levels. That's right. Altern, you have to fight 14 bosses. Oh, you know what? That's why Suicide Squad did what they did. They're like 13 bosses. That sounds good. We should incorporate that in our business. Altern says, no wonder why games cost $200 million. Well, yeah, let's think about that for a second. Upper management makes more money. They're probably making what? 120,000? And there's 14 of them? Right? 14 of them? So 120,000 times 14 managers. That's 1.6 million, right? $1.6 million. Just for that position to be like, yeah, I don't know. Just to move it up the chain. Alto says to fire the wrong ones, and now we'll have to fire the ones that didn't fire and hire new managers. Personally, that's what I would do. I would clean house. This is exactly why people are upset when people get bought out and stuff. They're like, oh no, people are going to lose their jobs. They have to. They have to. For someone new to come in to understand who they're working with is much harder than just cleaning house and bringing people in that you like. Mr. Z says, finally, another woman to run things. It's a new day. Everything will get fixed now. Yeah. They're all there. Gamers. Waterbear says, Mr. Z, you can't blame her. She's actually getting rid of the fluff, and Microsoft has apparently had for years. No, he's talking about the other girl they hired from Mojang. Waters also says, because who the fuck needs 14 layers to go through in order to get things greenlit? The worse than fighting Brainiac 13 times. That's right. Clip says, make sure your PlayStation wasn't in rest mode for might lose all your saved data. Travis says, in many ways, it would be funny if you crashed into the mountain. Oh, stop it. Stop it now. Jesse Max says, Xbox is betting on Game Pass, same as movies to watch. They're also betting about. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The streaming services are killing movies because they just threw them on to the streaming service. And now because there's a brief moment, right? Not long enough to put them on the streaming services. That's why people are like, I'm not going to go to the theater. Look at what's happening. Do you guys see what's happening with Supergirl right now? Sarge says, no, bro. Middle managers are making more than devs. You need to go higher. More like 250,000. Jason says, the power of Game Pass. Look, I've said this plenty of times. Game Pass is fantastic for customers. Terrible for the business. Not my problem, though, right? Same thing with digital gaming. Digital is great for customers for convenience, but terrible for the business. Look what's happening. They're both two things that are fantastic for us, but at the same time, terrible for the business. Sarge says, Supergirl's doing fine. Mr. G says, Microsoft thinks they can compete with, get competent people at any time. So they hire new and fire old all the time, and the managers need to remain to train and keep the teams in line. So stupid. Shh. The problem is with these corporations, with these businesses, especially video games, like a movie takes, 6 weeks to 6 months to film. Then you edit it and you put it out. And within 12 to 18 months, you have a film out. Video games don't work that way. Video games, you get people together and you start making something. You're talking 3 years early access, right? 4 to get a beta, 5 maybe to release, or longer. Everything goes smooth. So they basically they kill themselves. All right, so we have a couple of things here. We have Undead Labs. State of Decay 3 developer Undead Labs splits from Xbox. Okay, everyone was a little bit concerned about this because we saw the game back in 2019 where they showed the deer and the cinematic stuff, then heard nothing for years. Then recently, and it makes sense now why they did this, because they showed a trailer. And then there's been a lot of content creators, smaller content creators that have been making videos able to talk about State of Decay. And now looking back, 2020, hindsight's 2020, you're like, well, this is kind of weird, right? The game's not coming out till 2027. They usually were super quiet about it, but they had smaller channels starting to talk about State of Decay, show gameplay, right? Go in depth about this. Let people see it. Because now, look, now they're being separated, right? They're almost being closed. So it's good news. Good news if you're an Undead Labs fan and State of Decay 3 fan, because it doesn't look like the game's being closed down. It looks like it's going to come out. which is good. Okay. State of Decay 3 developer Undead Labs splits from Xbox. State of Decay 3 developer Undead Labs has split from Xbox, but has been saved from closure after another publisher for the upcoming title was found. Good news. Hey, a win's a win. Okay. Undead Labs gets to fight another day because Microsoft found a buyer, found another person that could take them over. Instead of firing the people, technically they've lost. Okay, they're not paying those people. They're not fired, but they've lost that group of people. So if there's 100 people working for that company, Microsoft doesn't have to pay them anymore. They're off the books of them, and they go over to somebody else, right? Xbox and Undead Labs on the chopping block, despite growing excitement for the release of State of Decay 3, and the separation of Xbox and the studio has been confirmed, although the title will still be released as planned. Before it says Undead Labs separates from Xbox. In a statement, Xbox CEO Asha Sharma confirmed that Undead Labs, alongside Senua developer Ninja Theory, have entered terms to join a new ownership with funding to complete and grow their respective titles. Undead Labs is among 4 studios being sold off, with Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions transitioning into independent studios, retaining their IPs. Meanwhile, Arcane Studios is beginning required consultation with the Works Council to review potential strategic options. Another good thing about this is that all of these, Undead Labs, Compulsion, Double Fine, okay, independent studios, and retaining their IPs. That's very good for them. Very good. We don't have a situation like Bungie back in the day where they lost Halo to Microsoft. So Undead Labs keeps State of Decay. Compulsion keeps all their IPs, right? And Ninja Theory gets to keep, Hellblade and Senua, I would assume, right? Meanwhile, Arcane Studios being required consultants. So Arcane's not keeping their stuff. So that'll be interesting to see. The big news, however, is that Sharma confirmed that none of the first-party publication announced games and projects are being canceled as part of the reduction. The separation of Undead Labs from Xbox comes amidst a period of turmoil for Microsoft, which is significantly slimming in gaming division amidst the marketing challenges leading to layoffs, studio closures, and game cancellations. Xbox's approach has raised eyebrows, however, with Ninja Theory facing closure just after a reveal trailer of Senua at the latest showcase, where State of Decay 3's also had their gameplay revealed. It seems that those moves were also a bit to raise interest in the developers for sale, and the Undead Labs looks to have caught a hook, which is great. Check out the State of Decay 3 gameplay trailer below. Now all we have to hope for State of Decay 3 is that the people that they're buying, they're okay, right? That they don't get all of a sudden, fire happy, and they're like, oh, you know what, we're canceling the game and stuff. So we'll see. But good news for State of Decay, Ninja Theory, and Double Fine, because they're not being closed. They're being pushed off, and they get to keep their IPs. Mr. Luke says they helped sell the company. Yeah, it's good. It's good that they did that. Good news, still gonna be buggy and all that. Oh, of course. We already know that, right? But at least we can complain about a broken, buggy game, Mr. Luke. Now the question is, do all these games still stay on Game Pass with the new deals? Because now that State of Decay 3 is moving over to a different company and they're still helping funding and stuff until they're complete, will it stay on Game Pass, or is it no longer Now, I don't care. I own both State of Decay, so I'll buy State of Decay 3. Just no pre-orders, no day one, no full price for a half-ass game, which we know will be those problems. Eclipse says, oh, hell yeah. So now they're independent now. Nice. Mr. Luke says, Xbox can't spend any more money to try to keep the IPs. Well, technically, they don't have to spend more money to keep the IPs. They bought the companies. They can keep their IPs if they want to. I think they're trying to look good and be like, look, because they know if they keep the IPs, who's going to buy them? Do you know what I mean? Because they would be the bad guys, Mr. Luke, if they didn't let them keep the IPs, because they don't have to pay to keep the IPs. They already paid for the companies. They own them. So they're like, no, we're selling off the company and they can keep their IPs, because otherwise, what would they have? They would, if they couldn't keep their IPs, then they would have to start off from scratch again, and then that would look really stupid. It's like, what are you selling them? Because who's going to buy a company with no IPs? Remember, IPs are the king. It's like these studios collect IPs like Pokemon cards. Never to put them in their deck to play them, by the way. Ron Slusher says this isn't a bloodbath. This is more of a light shower. Chopper Everett says, I bet the games are gone off Game Pass as well. I think there are other ones will. I don't know if the ones that are on, like Keeper, Killin, I think it's called, right? Hellblade, I think, and maybe this is the contract they had, right? They're like, all your games that you had with us stay on Game Pass, and everything you guys make before, we'll have different deals. So let's say Undead Labs make State of Decay 4 down the road. Maybe there's something in the contract that when they let go, they said, oh yeah, we have to offer them, money for whatever to come to the platform. Who knows? Again, we don't even know if Game Pass will be a thing when the next Xbox comes out. Mr. Luke says, oh, I bet the staying on Game Pass is part of the sale. 100%. That's exactly what I'm thinking. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Again, just a guy in his room thinking about stuff basically on what's going on, because business is business. They're not just going to let someone go and go, okay, have fun at camp. No, they're not doing that. I feel like it's going to be like Toys of Bob situation. Perhaps, yeah. Jesse Mack says State of Decay 3 probably not on Game Pass because they're not a Microsoft product anymore. Contracts and obligations. They could have easily kept them and said, we'll keep you, and then once the game's done, you're closing down. Or they said, okay, we found you a buyer, and because we found you a buyer, and you guys get to keep afloat, and we're funding it still, State of Decay 3 is on Game Pass. Could be timed. Mr. Z says, face it, even without the companies, they would sell those IPs, no one else to make those games. Or they wouldn't. No one else to make those games. They sell those IPs. They wouldn't, right? They wouldn't sell those IPs. No, they wouldn't sell the IPs. They just collect them. That's all they do. Mr. Luke says, if they keep the IPs, they have to get another company to work on them, like Halo. Good job. They didn't, because they worked out well, right? Well, the other IPs, how many IPs does Sony own that they don't do anything with? How many IPs does Xbox own that don't do anything with? And the ones that they do, they give them to someone, and everyone's like, I didn't want to make Halo. 343 never wanted to make Halo. They made 343, okay, to make Halo, and they're like, we're following the trail of Bungie. And now they made Halo Studios, and Halo Studios doesn't even want to make Halo. Who would have thought that people that are at a studio called Halo Studios making Halo games are like, we can't make Halo games, we need help. COD not on Game Pass this year? State of Decay 3 not on Game Pass this year? Well, no one said it's not on Game Pass. They've announced it's on Game Pass. So they haven't unannounced it on Game Pass. To say that it's not going to be on Game Pass, it might be on there for 6 months and then taken off. But as of right now, State of Decay 3 is still on Game Pass. Let's see what else is happening, because news is still coming in. Xbox parting ways with multiple studios. We already read that. 3,000 layoffs, but not 3,000 right away. Xbox cuts 5 studios in the bloodiest beginning yet for new gaming. 5 studios. We only read for 3. Let's see if Double Fine says something here and there. Double Fine says, once again, Double Fine Productions will be an independent studio. We're thankful to everyone at Xbox for 7 great years. Together, we are also working with us to reach an outcome which preserves our history and culture and returns ownership of our games to us. See? To everyone who has reached out to us in the past few weeks, thank you so much for all your kind words, and is also deeply touched by all your messages. And we also share more news soon on what comes next. To continue to support and greatly appreciate it. Yeah, so, again, I know people think, as far as the layoffs are terrible, but this is a win for gaming right here, that the big corporations have released these independent studios back to be independent, right? Because we're in a completely different landscape today than we were 10 years ago, okay? Where these companies needed to be bought up so they could make some money because they didn't have to, but you don't need to make a huge game anymore, right? You don't have to make a huge game anymore. You can make a Double Fine. Keeper and Killing could have been a completely different beast for them if they just sold it and made money, right? Instead of being underneath Microsoft and stuff. So hopefully Double Fine breaks off and still continues to make great games. Same with Undead Labs. Same with Ninja Theory. Right? These are not fires. These 3 studios are not being fired. They are being set free. They are being set free back into the wild so they can make the games that they want to make. Compulsion here has one. It says, when Compulsion Games was founded in 2009 as an independent studio, we were just a few dreamers and Leak's old gramophone factory devoted to creating rich storytells, an experience that also felt handcrafted and cared about the craft and making games. The story we tell, the players who experience them, and assemble creators who also put their hearts and soul into doing something different. Today, we're sharing Compulsion Games will return to independent management following our time as part of Xbox as part of the transition. We will retain the rights to contrast We Happy Few, our award-winning South to Midnight. We're grateful for the years that we spent with Xbox for the support and provide our team, and the opportunity to bring these games and players around the world. As an independent studio, we're excited to continue building the distinctive games and define Compulsion while also taking the next steps to our journey. Our immediate priority is to support our teams throughout this transition period, and we're confident that the future of Compulsion Games and look forward to these next chapters where one thing could remain consistent, and we create unique games and tell important stories and all the goals touching the hearts and minds of our players. Now, again, this was a $100 million game on Game Pass. Should have never been on Game Pass. This should have been a standalone game to sell, whatever. It did sell, and it was also on Game Pass, but majority of people played it on Game Pass and never touched it. Didn't do very good on PC, but they keep their independence. So again, not fired. They get to keep their stuff. Let's see what else is going on here. Scrolling down. Gotta love when breaking news happens like this and everyone just starts to come out. It's like, oh, nothing's happening. Do you guys understand why I start at 10 and not 9? Right? Because most of the stuff happens between 9 and 10 when they start posting stuff, because people get to the office or wake up, start writing the articles, and they start posting them. Let's see. Ninja Theory is leaving Xbox. Company restructuring and layoffs. CEO of the moving Minecraft Candy Crush business unites to report directly to her. We call that the booty pull. Xbox Game Pass didn't grow at a pace. Okay, so this is a new event from Insider Gamer. We go to chat. Clip says, well, it's not confirmed. State of Decay 3 is not on Game Pass either way. I'm going to buy it, though it looked good. Yeah, I bought the other two. I'll buy the third one. Of course, not at the beginning, because it'll be broken buggy. Unless it's cheap. If it's not a full-price game. Remember, I know people try to give me shit. They're like, well, you're still buying games. Yeah, the slogan is no pre-orders, no full price, right? For a half-ass game, right? If a game is $30, $40, that's not full price. We're talking about AAA games here, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 games. Aku says 30. At least Xbox is letting the studios go instead of letting the IPs just sit there. Right, that's what I'm saying. So I know everyone's looking at this going, oh, there's a whole bunch of jobs being lost. Yes, that's terrible. But as a gamer, you should be excited that they've released Compulsion, State of Decay, or Undead Labs, Ninja Theory, and Double Fine, right? These 4 studios have been let go, as Tim says, being released back into the wild. Clip says, hell yeah, boy. Brutal Legends 2, make it happen with the new Rockstar. Altern says, at least they were also set free. But What was the point to buy them if you're going to set them free 5 years later? Well, the point was to make money off of them, and it didn't work out for them because, well, they had 14 fucking managers telling them what to do, and no one knew ass from their elbow. So that was the problem, Altern. Imagine getting rid of the 14 people and then just still doing the exact same thing. Oh, let the studios put games on Game Pass that don't cost fucking $250 million. Who's making an independent game for $100 million and put it on Game Pass? Dumb. The clip says because people thought but more IPs would help Game Pass, and it did not. So they're going back. But again, think about it. More IPs would have helped Game Pass if they didn't put the IPs that cost $200 million on Game Pass. Ron says gamers are not looking forward to Killing 2. Killing was, we saw that brief little moment on Laura Fryer's video last week, Ron, right? Where they said we pitched our most ridiculous idea and they greenlit it and they were like, what do we do now? Well, now they have to make it, right? I don't even think they wanted to make that game. I'll be honest with you. By her saying that last week, that little caption, which we have to find, I gotta figure out what those maybe we could watch one of those. I think I bookmarked it. But they were talking about how they pitched the idea to Microsoft, and Microsoft was like, yeah, we'll greenlight, and they're like, oh god, now we have to make the game. That game wasn't supposed to be made. It was a joke. Mr. G says, amazing to think that money invested in these studios and almost no games after 7 years or so, with no expectations to have a product complete amazing. Well, they had a lot of games come out. I mean, Double Fine made 3 games while they were under. I mean, Hellblade 2 came out for Ninja Theory, and then Senua was being in the works. Undead Labs didn't make anything. They just updated Undead State of K3. Compulsion had a couple of games come out. None of them were hits. Clip says, yeah, I agree. I'm glad they're independent, and they also make their own stuff. That's awesome. I do have a feeling, though, that the next couple of games will go on Game Pass. They'll probably have some contract stuff. I would assume, again, nothing official, but I would assume that they're more than happy to be independent. Because think about this. If you're an independent company, you're making your game. Now that I'm independent, I can make our game, and it sells over here. It sells over here. It sells over here. And now because I'm not a first-party title with Xbox, they have to pay me to put my game on Game Pass, right? So now that they pay me to put it on Game Pass, I'm making that sales. Where the first-party guys, when they were part of it, so Double Fine was part of Xbox. They weren't making any money because Xbox was just taking their game that they paid for, and they're putting it on Game Pass. But now Double Fine's over here, independent, and they're like, hey, Double Fine, we'd like to put your next game on Game Pass. They're like, okay, this is how many things we need to sell for copies. They're like, we got you. And they pay them the money, percentage of the money, and now they paid for it to put it on Game Pass. It's a win for these companies independently because they're independent. Oh, do those games count? Which games? The ones that they made while they were under them? The smaller games do. They weren't very good. I think the biggest issue with the Xbox is they don't know what direction they really want to go in. Plus, it's too many suits in charge. Apparently, 14 is crazy. Yeah, but think about that. 14. Is it 14 per? Think about this. Is it 14 just 14 people? Or is it 14 people per company? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how many people? Is it just 14 between like all of these guys to Microsoft? Or was it 14 between, all right, Double Fine's here. And they're like, okay, all right, Water, you're in charge of Double Fine, and you have to report to Mr. Z. And there's 14 people between Double Fine and Microsoft? And then there's 14 people between Compulsion and Microsoft? Or is it just 14 people controlling all those things? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how many fucking people were between each of these companies? Is it 14 each? That's crazy. Yeah, it might be 14 layers within multiple people of each level. Wouldn't that be insane? It doesn't make sense on the 14 people. Like, is it 14 just games, 14 people and then Microsoft? Or is it this company, 14 people, then Microsoft? Then this company, 14 people, and then Microsoft? Eclipse says, do you remember when Legendary Drops had the video about Ubisoft and it was saying that the people that go through like 10 different... Yeah, it was actually, I think it was 14 people as well. Mr. Z says, my experience, the 14 would have some overlap. Okay, so there's 14 people, but on certain companies, it would be like they had their own 5 that would have to answer the 14, so it would be more of a thing, or 5 of the 14 would be over here and 5 of the 14 would be over here. Not that it helps, but 14 is too much. I mean, that's a lot of people, though. Sarge says, that is plausible. They could have too many middle managers. Yeah, because the way the article, the way she spoke about it was there's 14 layers. But it doesn't mean there's 14 layers, just one 14 layer. It could have been different management positions for each one, up to 14. Aku says 30, you need a manager to manage the manager, to manage the manager, to manage the manager. 100%. Yeah. Because you can't do a business without that. I mean, obviously you have to have a manager to have a manager to have a manager to manage the managers. Because if you don't have a manager to manage the managers, then how are you going to manage all of these managers? I mean, simple. It's simple math, right? Ron says 14 is the new 6-7. All right, let's go to the next story. Let's see here. That's crazy. Oh, is this a different article? We're setting our new operator as Xbox. We grew our head count. Yeah, that's the article we read. Okay, I don't need to read that again. Asha Sharma confirms no publicly announced game cancellations. So game cancellations are not happening as of today. Doesn't mean they're not going to happen. Just means as of today. Jesse Max says, if Undead Labs and Microsoft give them a contract for independent verification and both parties sign the contract agreeing with not putting it on Game Pass, then good thing for Undead Lab players to buy a game. I like I said before, I guarantee you State of Decay 3 will stay on Game Pass. Especially if Microsoft is still funding them, even though they're being picked up by another organization. I know a lot of, look, this is very positive. I know everyone looks at me and they're like, oh, you're so negative. I'm looking at this, the layoffs, and yes, there are layoffs. Layoffs are going to happen. Layoffs, like playoffs. They're going to happen regardless. Look back last year, the year before that. Remember, Microsoft hired 30,000 people during COVID. 30,000 people during COVID, and they've only fired about 17,000, 18,000 of those people. Okay, so they're still way up high. The good news here today is that they released 4 studios. They released them back into the wild. Right? Now, these companies should be very, very smart with what they do here. Okay? When they make their next games, whatever they do, they better make them physical copies and also digital. El Dente says, I feel like all the companies getting closed should be able to sue Xbox. There's no companies being closed. All the studios are being released. The only one up for debate right now is Arcane. Aku says 30. Why are we losing so much money? The manager of the accountants manager and the manager that aren't sure why we're also spending so much on personal. They're canceling Blade. This is way too big of a project for them to handle. They haven't canceled it yet. They're still looking for a buyer for Arcane. El Dente says, I knew the Microsoft started buying companies left and right was going to be bad for the companies. Well, as of right now, the companies are being released. There are no companies being fired. There's individuals being fired within Microsoft, okay? But the actual studios that are not, they're not firing. They're releasing the actual studios. They're staying intact. Apollo says, almost as if sometimes reality has a negative experience. Never understands why being realistic is a view as a bad thing. I'm always realistic. I'm always realistic. Let's see here. Just Gordon says, breaking, Microsoft confirms Xbox is cutting 3,200 roles, reducing through fiscal year. We already know that. No projects are being canceled for now. That's right. No projects being canceled for now. Asha said 30 said that they lay off of 3,200 and closes down 4 studios. We just read it. There was no studios being closed. There was 4 studios being released. What were the studios that were closed? Here, I'll read another article. There's people being fired, managers being fired. What's going on, Dolphin? As part of the cuts, Microsoft reached deals with 4 studios to either go independent or join new management, saving them from closure. Compulsion's known for South of Midnight will be acquired by management and also go independent again. Double Fine will also be go independent, led by Tim Schafer. Undead Labs, Ninja Theory will also be acquired by new publishers. Sources told us at the weekend at both Ninja Theory and Senua and Labs, the State of K3 will remain fully in production as part of a diversical deals. There's also a question mark over Arcane and Blade. However, Microsoft is engaging with French government to try to figure out a path forward to legendary Dishonored maker with the goal of saving Arcane from closure and keep Blade in production. Right now, we can only hope that Arcane and other suitors can help Dishonored and Blade market afloat. Okay, beyond that, the meat of reduction, Sharman has described every department at Xbox will have some form of layoffs. So what are you guys reading that I'm not reading? What are you guys reading that where are the 4 studios closed? Because I'm only reading what I'm reading. And there's 0 studios closing. There's 4 studios being sold. 1 studio's up in the air right now because they're trying to find them and working with the French government. So where are you guys reading that there's 4 studios closing? Aku says, Arcane deserves to be shut down. I don't think anything from them have been halfway decent. Dolphin says, happy 4th, or happy late 4th. I had a Hispanic girl come over and cook me food, among other things. Nice. They need Rare to stop working on Sea of Thieves and make the New Conquerors a guaranteed seller in today's society. Shadow says, no other games canceled except all the other games we canceled previously. That's not today's news. We're talking about today's news. We're not talking about yesterday's news. We're talking about today's news. Today, there is no studios closing. There's 4 studios being sold. Dolphin says, sounds like they're just moving them, not closing. Not sounding like. It's exactly what they're doing. Did she play with your Destiny Tower? It's good. Yeah. Yeah. He does have a Destiny Tower. If you're here, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. Dolphin actually has a Destiny Tower. And I'm sure he hid the tower. Let's be honest, guys. He might have got something clean. I know what you're implicating, but that tower didn't get cleaned. That tower was hidden behind the door. It's like, oh shit, I got a girl coming over. Let's hide that. Let's move this. She probably doesn't even know what games are. Yeah. Cliff says, must have been the same person that said 100 million PlayStation sales. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what you guys are reading. Like, I don't know what Jesse Mack's reading. 4 studios closing, right? Is that what Jesse said? Asha said layoffs of 3,200 and closes down 4 studios. That's not what's said. You guys like to make up your own headcanon for some of these things. No wonder YouTube, everyone thinks people are grifters because people read like 2 words and like 3,200, 4 studios. Yeah, they didn't close the studios. They moved the studios. Shadow says Xbox won't get saved from this guaranteed. I can see them getting out of games eventually. No, if anything, I see them just becoming what Sega was. If it comes down to that point, Shadow, I don't think they get out of games. I just think they go as a publisher and just make games and then give them to other people's platforms. Waterbear says headcanon is better than real life at this point. Apollo says most likely reading news from creators twisting the truth. That could be, but as we do here on the Daily Grind, we read articles, give you my thoughts and opinions on the article, but the article is the article. We read the articles here. I'm not giving you a summary of the article. We literally read it, right? I'm not giving you my perspective of the article without showing you the article. We're reading the article for what the article is. Right? All links to the articles that we have, these will all be in the link down below as well. Okay, they're not right now because I have to go through them all and whatnot, but they will be on the stream. But I guarantee you'll see people. Oh, they closed 4 studios. No, this is the best thing that could happen to these studios. I'm telling you, we don't like consolidation. We talk about consolidation in the past when they were buying these things, right? I don't like consolidation because it's bad for us, the customer. Okay? Well, now 4 of the studios are set free again. And Xbox comes down a notch because now they don't have 4 of these studios, and these 4 studios can go do what they want. A lot of people, right? There's a lot of people that comment or send me messages and they're like you're contradictive and stuff like that. I'm not, right? I am for the player. I am a gamer. I am for the player.
Come on, guys. 30 isn't Dreamcast guy.
Thank you.
Thank you. You love me. You really love me.
Right? Like, I am for the gamer. I am not a bootlicking corporate person. I don't like corporate offices. I don't like corporate businesses, right? I get what they have to do, but as a customer, okay? As a customer, I want what's best for us. Always have. Stand exactly where I've been standing for the entire time I've had my channel, right? Everyone's like, well, you play Game Pass, you support Microsoft. I'm not spending $80 on a video game. I'm not spending $70 on a video game. I'm giving them $20 a month because I have also an 11-year-old kid. And when I was growing up, I rented games from Blockbuster all the time. I own hundreds and hundreds of games for all of my systems, okay? But I'm also not rich. I'm not looking to buy all these games and then put them down 3 seconds later. I look for sales and deals. Paulo says, I'm all for you becoming a mainstream gaming news content creator, man. I appreciate it. Maybe one day it'll happen. But I have me and like 14 other guys that I have to go through to get to YouTube. And the other 14 people just don't really like me in the algorithm, you know? Shadow says they've been a long road for them for rebuilding Xbox, the brand again. Here's the thing. I do not want Xbox to go. As much as I don't like corporate, I also don't like where if one goes away, the other ones just thrive because they can say what they want. Look what's happening right now, okay, with Sony doing the digital. Now, everyone's like, well, Xbox doing the exact same thing. Yeah, they are, but there's still choice and competition. If you get rid of this, right, people don't understand about the choice. The choice is the big thing. Right? Computers are expensive, but I don't have to buy from just one manufacturer. There's choices, right? And if I don't want to buy from a manufacturer, I could build my own. There's choices, right? I don't have to buy the game from Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo. I can go to GameStop, I can go to Best Buy, I can go to Target, I can go to Walmart. There's choice. When you have a closed garden, there's no choice, and they can do what they want. We talked about this last week, and we're going to talk about it from here on going forward until it gets through people and understand what's happening. Where's the old Cameron Diaz? She was in a movie recently with Jamie Foxx. I want to say it was last year, right? Where they were like parents and they were like spies. It was actually pretty good. It was like a cheesy, right? And Cameron Diaz looked pretty fucking good for her age. She's a good looking woman. She doesn't do any kind of I don't think she's had any plastic surgery and stuff like that. I think she's against that stuff. Waterbear says, lies 30. You're rich. You have chickens that lay golden eggs. I would love golden eggs, but actually they're Rhode Island Reds. They lay brown eggs. They lay brown eggs. DRM is the real issue. Yeah. Shadow says, we all knew they wanted digital for control for the longest time. Yep. And Shadow, were you here long enough to know that, when I always say that, everyone's like, I was like, they're going to go digital. They're going to go cloud. Everyone's like, no, I'm going to buy physical. I said, you can until you can't. And here we are. 2028. You can until you can't. Ron said Marvel Rivals made Overwatch be more competitive. Yes. Same with, look at as much as I hate Battlefield 6 right now, because Battlefield 6 is not Call of Duty. Look what Call of Duty has done to Battlefield. They made competition. Battlefield had to throw 4 studios to bring it back to life just so it can get back in the ballpark. And because they beat Call of Duty last year, now Call of Duty has to work their way back up. Clip says, I'm just happy that State of Decay is still going on. The gameplay looked very good. I could begin a very awesome zombie survival game. I'm looking forward to it, but again, my expectations are subdued because I watched the gameplay. It looks great, but I've also played the first 2, and we all know the first 2 were fucking broke, buggy, and unfinished. Shadow says, people just got suckered into accepting digital by manipulation. I don't want to say manipulation. I mean, don't get me wrong. Manipulation is part of it. But it's more convenience. People will do a lot of different things for convenience, right? People will bitch about paying $15 at a restaurant when they go, but they have no problem spending $18 or $20 to same food be delivered to their house, okay, and then pay that to Uber driver. Do you know what I'm saying? That convenience washes out the other things. It's convenient to just download a game. It's convenient to just close a game down, quick resume, open up another game, right? It's convenient, so I don't have to open up my little booklet, right? It's more convenient than doing this, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of opening up and pulling some of my games out, right? I have to just hit the button and go do, right? The problem is not digital. Digital's fine. You have to adapt with times and go places, right? Like, obviously the vinyls went to 8-track and 8-track went to tape and tape went to CD and CD went to, you know what I mean? Went to all digital. But people still, the artists that work in the music industry still make vinyls. They still make CDs. There's still options. You can stream your music. You can buy your music. You can listen to it downloaded, right? You can buy the digital track. You can buy the physical copy. There's options. Movies, same thing, right? You could go buy the digital movie and then Sony can steal it from you, right? You could go buy a physical Blu-ray and still put it in your machine until you can't. Dramo. Most times you pay double that on eating out than getting it delivered to your house when it's nice and the fries are soggy, the burger doesn't taste as good because it was in a plastic or a styrofoam container. Yeah, much better. And God knows what the Uber driver stuff is doing to your food. I personally rather, go to the restaurant myself. Mo says, heads up a bit, both on Philly cheesesteaks and buffalo wings sausages were fucking amazing. Oh, those things that you've been posting? Mo, I can't. If I ever make a trip back out to California, which is very unlikely, but if I ever make a trip back out to California, I'm looking you up. I'm letting you know I'm coming. Yeah, Mo's making his pictures that he's posting on Discord about the food and stuff. Mo's not working at a restaurant. That's just his house. All right, let's go. One of the stories I wanted to talk about today was Sony's at it again. Sony looks at this and is like, how do we ruin another game? How do we ruin another game? If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay. Sony slips again and blocks Marvel Tokon in 132 countries on PC. Why? Because they don't want to sign up for PlayStation. They just want to play a video game. And Sony's like, no. We would rather lose 132 countries of potential buyers because of it. So Sony is in the press again and again. It's for the wrong reasons. It's been discovered that on PC, an incoming Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls will be blocked in 132 countries, owing to limitations of the PlayStation Network. Okay, the age-old issue has been a thing for a hot minute now. It's also weighted on heavily on the other games, causing them to review bomb and boycott often incorrectly. Okay, fans have also taken to social media and voiced their displeasure, but it is a problem that has risen before and will likely surface again in the future. Okay, it says, but Sony is getting out of PC. PlayStation's first-party releases are kind of working their way out of PC market going forward. That much we know. We kind of also know that Sony intends to still publish live service multiplayer-focused games on PC as well as PlayStation platforms. Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is the latest game to fall into the camp of given that Sony owns the franchise. The PC launch is hampered by the typical issue of the Surface when PlayStation-backed product releases on Steam, and that 132 countries are blocked from accessing the game. This is because those countries cannot access PlayStation Network, which is a necessary requirement for playing Marvel Tokon. No PlayStation Network, no purchase available on Steam, unfortunately. In recent weeks, Sony has found itself kicked in the backside numerous times by the wider gaming community, even seeing price hikes, layoffs, and even news Sony Interactive will stop printing discs on PlayStation games from January 2028, all of late. However, there might be a light in the end of the tunnel for these 132 countries. In the past, backlash has been strong enough for changes in the land on a case-by-case basis. Once upon a time, Helldivers 2 was also going to account linking update between PSN and Steam, and it was slammed so hard by players and the PlayStation backed off and canceled the move. Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago, and we forgot that. We've gone back to default state. Okay, this was the only 100,000 negative reviews appeared on the game Steam or on game on Steam, and of course there was always around the PSN influence blockers such as leaning on to the VPN, but those steps might result in facing punitive reactions. Like Sony's taking back your game, right? You're trying to get around so you can buy the game, and they're like, no, you're not allowed to buy our game because we don't want you to buy our game. So are you in the 132 countries where Marvel Tokon will not launch on PC? Let us know if it impacts you in the Insider Gaming Discord server or here in the chat on 30NSG for the Daily Grind. Now, I know what people are saying. Well, I'm not part of that 132 countries, so it doesn't bother me. Well, that is the problem. Okay? That is the problem. If you want things to become better in the industry, even if you can buy this game, you shouldn't buy this game. Okay? Not say never buy it. You shouldn't buy it when it comes out. I know. You want to play Captain America, you want to play the fighting game. If you truly care about the video game industry, you will not buy these games. And that goes across the board, not just Sony, right? If Xbox wants you to sign in the game and people don't want to sign up for that game, and they remove it from countries that people can't play it, okay? If you want things to change, then you have to make them change. And the only way it changes is if us, the gamers, okay, if us, the gamers, speak up. I know people say, well, it doesn't do anything. Well, that's bullshit. It does do stuff, okay? Because if a game gets review bombed, or if a game like Helldivers, people stop playing, they see the number go down, that's the only thing they respond to. They don't respond to Twitter posts and content creators like myself that say stuff like this. They respond to the number going up, or I'm sorry, going down or going up. Okay? If you are a person that cares about the video game industry, your hobby that you love, then show it, right? You can play this game. This game is not going to be closed down and never be seen again. Okay? Well, not until after you buy it anyway. And then 3 years down the road, they'll close it. Okay? They need to make money off this. They need to put this out there. And if people don't buy it, guess what? They'll either stop people from signing up, or they'll do a little trick later. They'll be like, all right, you don't need to sign up. And then 3 months down the road, they'll ask you to sign up. Okay? They're trying to force you to buy their PlayStations instead of just, paying for the game and then playing the game. They want you to sign in because they need to know all your information. They need to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, how long you've been doing it for. And if you don't like this, then don't buy games like this. Okay? It's very simple. Jesse Mack says 132 countries that's not selling PlayStation 5s in general. It doesn't matter. The reason they're not selling it is because they can't sign them up. That's why they're doing it. So if there's 100 people in these countries that want to play the game, they can't. Because PlayStation's like, well, we just can't get them to sign up for the thing. This is exactly what they did for Helldivers. This is exactly what they did for God of War Ragnarok when they try to get people to sign up. It'll change when we make it change. More Bear Scrub says, lost in all of this, we've had such incredible games this year with more to come. 100%. There's always going to be good games. But while you're being distracted by the left hand doing a magic trick, the right hand sneaking in and trying to get more choices taken away from you, right? And if you're a person, and I'm not saying you specifically more, but if you're a person just in general that doesn't care about this stuff, you're like, I don't care. I'm going to buy my digital games. I'm going to do this. I'm going to sign up. I have nothing to hide. They can sell me. Cool. Then you have no problem with that. So you shouldn't have a problem with anyone talking up about what's going on because you don't care about that. So why would you care about someone trying to fight that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but they all have PCs. Why not let them play on PC? Because they can't sign up for PlayStation. That's why. You have to buy the box. You have to buy the box to enjoy the thing. Clip says, I think the reason that vinyls came back is because it sounds good. Cassettes tapes do not sound good, no matter what. But both are still, they're both, do you know what I mean? They're both still popular because people like the physicalness. They like the sound. There's people that still like the sound of tape. I don't know why. But the people that love those things started buying those things. It's become more popular again. Moore says, this is what's happening in the business. Yeah, I hate what's happening in the business. So do I. Look, I love video games. This is my hobby, right? I don't weight lift. I don't go running. I don't go biking. I don't own a boat. I don't collect cars like Pete Parson. Okay. I play video games. I collect video games. I love talking about video games. This is my hobby. This is what I love. Okay. If somebody else loved, I don't know, and I come into it, I don't try to force what I want into that section. That's what's happened in the industry. These businesses, these corporations have come in and they don't care if it's the movie industry, if it's the music industry, if it's the video game industry, they don't care about the actual thing they're working for. They only care about filling their pockets because they know they can make good money, which is fine. But they have to remember the only way you make that money is if you respect the customer. Clip says, this is why I like watching stuff on VHS. I mean, I get that nostalgia of it, but it looks like poop. Yeah. And this is why people are still holding on to, the DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that. I'm interested because we have another story here about, let me see if this is it. Compete with the PCs. That's the generation base. Where's the physical media one? Okay. So we have this one, which is gamers push back. 71% say they're not ready to let physical games die as PlayStation and Xbox move towards a digital-only future. Now, I glanced through this article earlier, and I know they have a number. It's a small little portion because of the industry. Like, if I took a poll right now, I can't say, like, this is the greater part of the industry. But it's a small portion. But there's tons of people that love physical stuff. And the reason we like physical stuff, if it wasn't for people getting physical stuff, you'd be paying $120 for video games right now. If it wasn't for physical, actual games and people still buying physical games, you would be paying $120, $150, which technically you are because a lot of the deluxe editions, special editions, all that stuff, Steelbook, are up in that price, okay? But if it wasn't for this stuff, but that also comes with a bunch of different things, right? If it wasn't for people still collecting this stuff and still buying these physical stuff, then these prices for standard games would be way up higher because they can control the market. Okay, so you should thank anybody that still buys physical stuff. Now, I buy physical stuff, not all stuff. I don't buy all games physical, okay, because I don't want all games to be physical. Some games I'm like, yeah, like I tried Compulsion Games South of Midnight because it was on Game Pass. I would never, ever buy that game. I would never, ever buy that game digitally or physically because I'm not interested in that game. But I tried it. And if I liked it and I want to own it, then I would purchase it. Okay? If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So gamers push back. 71% say they're not ready to let physical games die as PlayStation and Xbox move towards a digital-only future. Our community has spoken, okay? The community of Windows Central, spoken. 71% say physical games still matter. Here's why ownership and consumers choose remain major concerns. It's been a few days since the PlayStation announced the end of physical games, and this is, as I said, the reception has been bad and would be understatement. While it's also Windows Central also reported that Xbox Project Helix is expected to drop the disk drive, we also cover fresh details on Xbox digital disc to digital scheme, which is also could have give players a way to preserve their physical games libraries while still enjoying the benefits of digital ownership. Now, following the story, we also asked one simple question. How do you feel about PlayStation ending physical games? The response was overwhelming in favor of the option, okay, of one of the options. One of 1,577 votes casted, 71%, would say that you miss buying physical games, while just 13% were happy to embrace the fully digital future. I don't think the 16%, or it says 13, but here it says 16. I don't think these people are thinking clearly enough, right? Because if they knew, and they could be young, maybe they don't understand how gaming works, maybe they're old, they just don't give a shit anymore. But if they understood that the reason prices of games fluctuate and go on sale is because of physical games, then maybe they would go, oh, well, yeah, I'm in favor. If I can get a sale on a game because there's physical copies out there still, then I'm all for it. Not because of, they think that, well, no, I don't want physicals to come back because they're going to take digital away from me. That's not going to happen, right? You understand that? Like, if you're a fan of digital, physical being in the world doesn't affect digital from our perspective, from our customer's perspective, okay? It makes it better. But if you're a person that loves digital and hates physical because you think of whatever reason, I don't know what to tell you, right? Physical keeps the prices down, sales go, all these things happen, competition happens, the competitive in the actual space, okay? If you want physical to be gone because you're convenient to buying digital, you're being stupid, okay? No one's telling you have to buy physical. You have choice. You can buy physical, you can buy digital. But the people that like digital don't want physical. Why? Is it disturbing you in some way, shape, or form? It says, I also spent some time reading through the comments because while the poll shows how you voted, the discussion reveals why. Concerns of over ownership, game preservation, and rising costs of digital storefronts and calls the optional disc drives all come up as time and time again. There was also plenty of discussion surrounding Xbox portion of the system, preposterous system. It also lets you make the look and stood out most from the community. For many of you, it's all about ownership. Moving over the comments, many of you echoed the results of the poll, saying that we miss buying physical games. And to be fair, it's hard to blame you. It says, I've been guilty myself, embracing the convenience of digital era, relying heavily on the services like Game Pass. That said, when a game really means something to me, I still make an effort to go buy physical copies. So do I. Right? It's not a bad thing that you're buying digital games. You have a choice. You're like, hey, you know what? This game, I don't want to buy a physical copy. But this game, I do. And it's still there, and you can buy it. Okay? Halo campaign Evolve, which launches later this month, is a perfect example. I'll be picking it up on disc because, for me, it comes down to ownership. I want a physical copy sitting on my shelf, regardless of whether or not I also have the access for digital versions. That brings us nicely to the first comment, right? It says, quote, I'm not much of a gamer, so in my opinion, in this area, this aren't strong. However, I have worked closely with product designers for many years, and every time changes were made, we used to ask two questions. What problem does this change and solve for our customers? Do our customers see this problem as important enough to be solved? Okay. He says, I can't come up with an answer to make sense when I apply those questions removing the disk drives on the consoles. It's not a Microsoft issue. It's not, it just shows how the corporations move to serving customers to mostly serving themselves. Not a trend I like. Okay. Another person says, look at from a perspective of whether or not removing disk drives actually benefits consumers. Right? Floyd took things a step further by looking at why Sony might be making the move in the first place. They wrote, quote, the decision doesn't just make sense from a perspective of prevailing reselling. There's also a 30% margin to consider. Sony takes 30% from every transaction. We've talked about this last week, right? Through the PlayStation Store, this is not a case for physical game sales. Sony takes a cut, but is often smaller, which is usually around 15%, 10 to 15%. The retailers can negotiate directly with the publishers. Whatever Sony's reasoning may be, recurring them throughout the comments was trust, or rather, lack of it. Many of you are worried about what happens when everything is tied to digital license, with readers, Goose and UK, sharing their own experience. It says, quote, they can still pull your rights whenever they feel like it. I prefer my media to be on a disc somewhere, and then digitized if possible, as I've always digital rights pulled in the past, including from disc-based games I currently own. That comment really sums up how many or what many of you were saying throughout the discussion. It wasn't necessarily digital gaming that worried you. It was the thoughts of losing ownership and putting even more trust in the platform holders to safeguard your purchase for years to come, right? And a lot of people that push back on this or leave a comment and then say, well, you're a problem because I get stuff on Game Pass. Listen here, dum-dums, okay? If I want to buy a game, I buy the game. If I want to rent the game, which is Game Pass, I rent the game. And if I like the game, I can purchase it. Just like when I go to the movie theater and I watch a movie. And then after the fact, I go, you know what? I like that movie so much, I'm going to buy it. Well, why would I buy it? I already saw it. Because I want to watch it again. Why would I buy a game that I played? Well, because I want to play it again. And I don't want to keep paying a monthly fee to play that specific game. So I buy the game. I know it's crazy. It's crazy to think about it. Right? And they make it more convenient because if you played the game on Game Pass and you are a Game Pass owner, then you can purchase the game for 20% discount. Where if I went to go buy it now in the real world, I don't get that 20% discount. So the only way I would get a 20% discount on the physical copy is if I wait. And since I already played the game, but I love the game and I want to buy the game to add to my collection, I would have to wait for GameStop or Best Buy or Target to go on sale or someone secondhand to put it up on a OfferUp, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and then I would purchase that game at a discounted rate because I'm not paying the full price for the game, right? I put my time and go, well, I already paid this $20 this month, so I paid $20 for that game. So now I look at that game, if it was $60, well, now I won't pay more than $40 because I already paid $20. So now I got to wait for that thing to go down on sale. That's just the way I do things. Everyone else can do their own. One of the things that actually surprised me was reading through the comments. It was just how many of you weren't completely against digital gaming, especially given the outrage over Sony's decision to end physical media. Like myself, I seem as though quite few readers admit that they're also already made the switch years ago, but still didn't want physical games to disappear altogether. One person, reader said, it's unfortunately we've been mostly all digital for nearly 3 generations now, starting with the PlayStation 3 and now the Xbox Series. Okay, they went on to argue that Microsoft's original Xbox One vision, despite being heavily criticized at the time, could have offered the same benefits of play anywhere digital convenience with the preservation and collection aspect of physical. Looking back, Xbox may well have been ahead of its time in some respects, a common theme for Microsoft, but in typical Xbox fashion, they completely fumbled the messaging, fast forwarded to today, and many of us seem to be heading towards the same digital future anyway. Isn't that funny? You push back on stuff like that, but yet here we are. Not only are we run to the risk of getting far fewer than benefits than were also originally promised. Judging by both the comments and the poll, the issue doesn't seem to be digital gaming itself. It's the loss of choice. That's 100% correct. And anybody thinks that we're fighting against digital games, you're a moron. I'm sorry, you're a moron. Okay? It's not about digital games, it's about choice. And if you can't see that, then there's no help for you. Okay? There's no help for you. If you can't see that people are fighting for choice and not for digital and physical games, you're a moron. Okay, judging by both, many of you have embraced digital purchases for years, but that doesn't mean you want physical ownership to disappear entirely. That's correct, because we understand how business works and competition. Perhaps this is why most of the common suggestions wasn't for Xbox or PlayStation to abandon digital or whatever, but meant to somewhere in the middle. Several of you suggest optional external disk drives, multiple content SKUs, and Xbox reported digital-to-digital system, and ways to preserving physical collections without giving up the convenience of digital gaming. Why not just sell an external drive for dirt cheap? You think they're going to sell a separate drive for dirt cheap? No, see, they're like, oh, they still want physical? Well, they're going to pay a premium price. Now you're going to pay $120, maybe even $200 just for a disk drive. Watch, because now they make the problem and they'll sell the solution. We heard you. We listened to you. Even though they already have an external drive on the PlayStation, and there's ones that you could buy on the Xbox for Xbox Series X or the Series S, either physical or digital, okay? You're going to pay a premium price, just like the S to the X. You want a disk drive? You're going to pay that extra money for that disk drive. Sure, you could play better games at faster rates and stuff like that, right? But you're not getting a discount. It says others shared similar ideas, okay, suggesting that Helix could launch with an optional external reader, while Grant State Collin argued that Microsoft would offer an external USB disk drive for those who still want one, rather than forcing every buyer to pay hardware they might never use. Yeah, but see, I would be okay if they got a separate disk drive and I had a choice to still buy stuff. But if the disk drive comes out and the discs that they print are just the key to put in and not the actual game on the disc, well, that doesn't really solve anything. They just, put the vegetables in and mixed it in so I don't see the vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Because if the disc is not really the game on the disc, and you're just giving me a disc as a key to access the server so I can play, that's not what we're asking for, right? We want the actual disc and the game on the disc. Looking back at the poll, I actually think that it ties quite nicely in with the 16% of readers who said they are still undecided by simply wanting more options, rather than choosing between an all-digital future and sticking entirely to physical media. Many of them seem to believe that the industry should support both. They should. It's better all around. It keeps a whole secondary market, and then there's also games that you can buy at different places, retailers, that you can compete against each other. But Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo don't want that. They want the extra 30% from all the vendors, and they want to make all more money on the digital games because they don't have to print the disc and make the box and ship it and put it on shelves and do all that other stuff, right? Instead of making 40% of the game, they make 100% of the game. It says, interesting, each social platform had slightly different take on the news. Here on Windows Central, the discussion largely entered around ownership, game preservation, and customer choice. Over on X, many of you were more interested in the technical side of Xbox reported system, and also asking how it might work with older Xbox disc backward compatibility and leading games to friends. Reddit, meanwhile, was far more divided. Some argued physical media is no longer relevant. That is the most stupidest take. I'm sorry. This is the most stupidest take I've ever heard. Because if you're a digital person, Having physical doesn't disturb you in any way, shape, or form. Someone buying physical doesn't disrupt your digital media. It actually helps it. But, right? Most people already buy digital, while others felt that the real issue wasn't the disc itself, but losing customers choice. That's exactly what it is, and giving platform holders even more control. Okay, no matter where the discussion took place, one thing stood out to me. The debate was never really necessary about the plastic disc or the purchase. It's about ownership, preserving the game we buy, and having the freedom of choice how we play them. Okay, personally, I think it's sad direction of the industry. Whether you're actively buying physical games or not, having fewer options is really a good thing. No, it's never a good thing. Not rarely a good thing, never a good thing. As the industry continues shifting towards digital ownership, we're placing more trust in the platform holders to maintain access to the games we've paid for, and that this is something I don't think should be taken for granted. This is especially true for Sony, have just revoked 500 purchased movies from PlayStation users. Thank you for everyone who took the part of this poll and joined the discussion down below in the Windows Central. So, saying this out loud and people, not understanding what's going on here, right? They don't understand what's going on. The people that are against, well, they're stupid. You've been buying digital. It's not about the digital, you moron. It's about choice. And apparently, you don't have choice. You don't care about choice. You want people to tell you what to play and tell you where to play it and how to pay for it. Right? There's a lot of credit card companies. There's different percentages for different credit card companies. Imagine if there wasn't. Right? There's lots of food places to eat. You have choice. Imagine if there wasn't a lot of food places and there was only one food place. If you want to live in idiocracy, please go watch the movie. Okay? If you want to live in idiocracy, go ahead. But not while I'm alive, right? Not while I'm alive. I'm not sitting here taking one company to tell me how to pay for it, how to play it, how to take it, okay? I love choice. Choice is the thing that makes the world go around, makes competition happen, and makes our lives better because we have choice. Now, the only choice you have in a system that they want to make is that you either buy it or you don't. That's it. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. If you like what I do, check out some of our videos or our live chats here Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. Let me rewind and see what you guys are doing, what you guys are saying. Now, see, I've had people message me through Discord privately. I've had people message me in comment section. I've had people send me stuff saying that as a YouTuber, okay, as a content creator and then being a member of the channel, they don't feel like they're getting a membership, their membership worth, right? Because on my channel, I read all comments and stuff, right? I read all comments in the channel. I don't care if you're a subscriber. I don't care if you're a member, okay? I see something in the chat. I click on it. We read it out loud. It's part of the show. We read stuff, right? I'm asking you guys because unlike the rest of the population, they don't care about their customers, okay? Do you guys feel that I continue doing what I'm doing, okay, as a content creator where I just pick people's stuff up, or should I just read people that are members of the channel, that are members? I can read their stuff in the chat, right, to incentivize people to become members? Or do you like the way that I do it where everyone's part of the actual chat? Saint says, but if I cared about the industry, I also have to accept the removing physical is good for the industry too. So I have no idea what to stand for if it helps their pockets either way. But if I cared about the industry, I also have to accept the removing physical. Why do you have to accept it? How is that better for you, Saint, as the industry if they take away physical from you? That's not better. That's worse. Am I reading that correctly? I'll read it one more time. But if I care about the industry, did you say something up above? Did I miss it? Okay, the only reason Chicken was wrong is because there was no Twitter. The only reason Chicken Little was wrong is because there was no Twitter. Because if I cared about the industry, I also have to accept that removing physical is good for the industry too. Question. So if I have no idea what I stand for, all this helps lie in their pockets either way. Moore says, I wish that demos were mandated. I concur. I love that Game Pass is like a place where I can have demos. This is why I love Steam, because there's so many demos. Like Next Fest is going on right now. You can download a game, or actually Next Fest was a couple weeks ago, right? Where you could download the demo and play it, and they go, oh, I'm interested in that. Demos solve so many issues, right? Moore also says how many people who would respond to this poll bought physical media in the last year. I don't know. These are why I don't like small polls and stuff like that. Saint says, I've never put a disc in my PlayStation 5. GameStop wants too much for used games. Yes, but you have choice, though. Moore says, maintaining physical is stupid. What we need to do better policies around digital products. But why is it stupid? As a customer, why is it physical stupid to maintain? Clip says, this is why I love Steam. 2-hour trial is my demo, right? Albania says, I was on TikTok and saw people thinking that current games run off disk drive. They think that's what it runs off of? Let's see. GDC says, look, the gaming industry is in a weird spot, but the defense of physical media is completely baked in nostalgia. It's insane. It's not nostalgia, GD. It's not nostalgia. It's people that want to own their stuff. Dupla says, when will health issues be switched to digital instead of physical? Sarge says it's about control of your purchases. I want the option to buy Doomsday on VHS. Well, it's very simple. You could buy it on DVD, and you could take that DVD and put it in a DVD player and then put it back onto VHS if that's what you want to watch. Right? There's still options for that, but the media has changed, but there's still options for it, right? You can still watch a movie digitally or physical with the disc because we've adapted to the thing. Video games is adapting to digital, but they're abandoning physical. That's a problem. If movie industry bailed on physical discs, you would see an uproar with that as well. Moore says, why are we supporting the idea of giving people the option when the choice they're after objectively sucks? I don't understand. So you're on the form of because you don't like physical. So physical sucks for you, so you don't want to buy it. So then you buy digital. You have a choice. If you get rid of that physical disc, prices soar because now there's not a market. At the end of the day, all they're doing is getting physical collectors ready for the shaft. Yeah, but it's not even that. It's about businesses buying. I'm not even a collector. I buy like I'm not collecting everything like I'm a museum. I'm buying stuff because I like it and I want to collect it. Like I'm putting it on my shelf, but I'm not a collector. Like I want to own that game. I think the game preservation is best served on physical. Well, that sums it up. Well, you have to preserve it. You could preserve it digitally, but what's the digital rights? That's the problem. I personally want to go back to buying a $20 Blu-ray when a new movie releases. Much better than a $20 a month massive library of movies at my fingertips. Well, you still can. You can still go buy the $20, $30, $40 Blu-rays that they sell. There's less of them because there's less people buying them. But yet they still make them. That says, Brondo, we got what the plants crave. GD says, yeah, these consumers want to make dumb choices. Sony is saving idiots from themselves. Mo says, hoping Xbox does disc to digital. I got a few I want to switch. Choco says, 30, please print every episode of this show to disc. Okay, if you want to, I will. You want me to do that? You have to pay for the price. You want to pay a premium price? I will 100% do that for you. Is that what you want? I'll give you choice. So if you want this backlog of this thing, I will print it on a disc for you, and I will mail it to you, and I will send you the actual bill of it, so I make profit, just like Sony does. I want to make 90% of the actual digital profit. So instead of you just watching it and putting it on your own, because you can do it right now, you can download it and then download to everything you want. But if you want me to send you the disc, I'll be more than happy to oblige that. Let me know. Send me an email. I will download it on a disc and print a disc for you every single time, and I'll send it out to you. Albany says physical now is digital delivery on disc. The game doesn't run from system optical lens. El Dente says, I bought this discless PlayStation 5 because I hated the look of the console with the disc. I argue that 2 hours of Steam isn't Jevin. Isn't enough. So how did it how did enough turn to Jevin? What the hell is even that? Eclipse says the things is consoles have no competition on their platform. So if you have no competition, determine that the sells, that you also determine the price forever. You know what else people don't really do anymore? Get physical books. But they still, my wife does. El Dente says the episodes on GXG on VHS and on tape decks. I'll do it. Yeah, individual paying distribution is the same thing as a big-ass corporation. Yeah. Yeah. See, right now, if I didn't want you to have choice, I could stop YouTube from anyone downloading my episode. But I don't. People can comment on my video. They can download my video. They can upload it to whatever else. They can remix it. They can do whatever they want. But if you want me to download my video and put it on disc for you, let me know. I will make a tier. It'll be called 30 plus. It'll be called 30 plus, and we'll have a subscription model. If you want a disc given to you, I'll be like Netflix for YouTube. Yeah, I think we'll charge, I don't know, maybe $9.99. $9.99, and I will send you. Maybe we'll raise the price a little bit. You know, the RAM price is going up and tariffs. You know, we'll market conditions. It'll be $29.99. $29.99, and I will take, since I do 4 shows a week. Yeah, it's 20 shows a month. That seems reasonable. And UFC says the only thing wrong with the discless consoles is games will never be cheaper. No more bucket disc drops. That's right. Which the people that buy digital, you're supposed to get cheaper discs. Your prices were supposed to be cheaper this entire time, but they never were because nobody complained. The convenience charge of getting your game on your console instantaneously was an extra cost. Crowd says, I still don't understand how Sony is getting away with deleting digital content you paid for. Dead by Daylight loses license all the time. They don't take the characters you paid for. It has something to do with the contract with the licensing and stuff like that, but it's fucking bullshit, Crowded. If you bought those movies, not rented, not, if you bought those movies and you have those movies on your hard drive, they should not be able to touch those movies. But they did, and nobody cares. There's like, didn't really watch those movies anyway, right? It's like, the hell are you talking about? You bought those. You should be able to watch it. Now you can't. All right, we got this article from Game Informer. That says the one thing is saying we don't have the license, so we can't sell anymore. But not where we're going to take it from you, right? If you don't have the license anymore, and that movie is not be able to purchase anymore, cool, right? But if I bought the movie, it's on my PlayStation, because I bought it, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, we lost the license, so you can't watch the movie anymore. It's like, what? That's crazy. More so, unfortunately, I blame the customers for that one as well. Imagine buying a movie via a third-party platform, and that movie is only playable on said platform. Yeah, this is why I love that I take my movies that I purchase. I have about 550 movies that I own, okay, and I have a hard drives, where I rip my movies on a hard drive. And then when I used to travel, this is way back when. I've done this for decades, okay? I go back to when I had the iPod photo or video, whatever it was. It was iPod photo, but it did video. And I would literally rip my movies, okay, and put them onto my iPod, because I used to travel all over the world, right? And that's where I would watch my movies. I would watch my movies that I owned on my iPod on the small little screen while I traveled. And I could do that because I own the discs. I ripped the discs onto my other platform that I wanted to watch it on, and that's what I watched it on because I could do that. Yeah, I was looking at that as well, Eclipse, as far as they make that little, there's like a little box. You can put the little, little hard drives in, and you can like stream your movies to like a projector and stuff like that. I mean, when we do movie night and stuff like that on the big screen, I literally used to just plug in my hard drive, move down, use the projector. I think it's just unreasonable to expect a company to invest into products that less than 15% of the customers are using. The data that they're showing you is manipulated. There's still people buying majority physical. People, what they don't tell you, okay, people that buy digital also buy physical. Sometimes they buy the game twice because they want to own the disc for preservation or whatever, collection, so they can sell it later, whatever, and they also buy the digital. So let me get this straight. So you're pro-consumer. You're anti-consumer then, is what you are. You're anti-consumer because you want the company. I can't ask the company, because the customers are what makes the world go around, to make digital or make physical anymore because of the percentage that they're telling you of the sales. So you would rather just have all digital, no choice, no other place to buy stuff. You just want to buy it conveniently only on that one platform, which you can right now anyway. And they're still physical in the world. Are you a lawyer for Sony? Because it's strange to be rooting for the company and not for the customer buying the product. But see, that's the thing, though. They're against what GTA 6 is doing. We don't want a physical disc with a code in it. We want a physical disc. It makes no sense to me that the people that are not buying physical are upset that people that want to buy physical. It makes no sense. It has come out that in the state that included stuff, it was only digital. That's bullshit. Choco says any company on the planet would discontinue a product with such little market share. Great. And if they go full digital and people choose not to purchase their stuff anymore, and then the company goes, bankrupt, or they change their mind down the road, cool. They have every right to do what they're doing. And we as consumers have every right to not buy their products. The only reason companies succeed is because of us. They also fail because of us. but they also fail because of bad choices. Yeah, 100%, Jason. There's still plenty of games that are full games on the disc. And UFC says, I've bought physical games for years. Yeah, but do you think you buying physical games is hurting the people that are buying digital? No. But the people buying digital think that physical games are hurting them. Huh? In no way, shape, or form, as a customer, you'd be like, well, we got to feel bad about Sony. Oh, Xbox and Microsoft, they got to make that money. You understand that they used to make 40% of the disc, and now they make 100% of the disc. But they got to keep their lights on. They're more profitable than ever before, but they've got to make it profitable. Guys, if Sony doesn't go digital, they're going to go bankrupt. Sounds like managing problems then. This is why more people are going to play old games. They already are. Right? There's more games that came out the last 3 years. We tallied it up. It's like 52,000 games that came out the last 3 years. If everyone just stopped playing games right now, you would have plenty of games to play for the rest of your life. Aku says, I've been 90% digital since about 2013. Still buy physical things. I own every collection edition of Destiny 2 and its expansions. Oh, you shouldn't be allowed to do that, though, Aku. You shouldn't be allowed to buy physical media because digital. You shouldn't be allowed. We have to confiscate all those physical copies of yours because you shouldn't be allowed to buy physical. Maybe that's what... Oh, I just realized, Aku. Because you bought physical, that's why Bungie went under. That's why they went under. Because they just couldn't afford it, even though they had problems and everyone was buying digital stuff anyway. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, but why is it weird that Jason would rather do that? See, he purchases the disc, he owns the disc, and then he can also put it on the digital. How is that weird? How is physical hurting you with digital as you're a digital customer? Please make sense to me. How is us buying a physical disc hurting you buying digital games? I'll wait. How does you buying digital affect the people that are buying physical affect you? Because says, why do you think I've been buying physical? Oh, is that how it works? If I buy something physical, the game companies go out of business? Well, then I need to buy more physical. Shh. Crowded. Shh. No, it's no manipulation. It's exact facts. People don't buy physical things anymore. Everything's digital. I know this, Shadow. Has nothing to do with you buying physical or digital. It's just the upper management didn't know how to run Bungie, and they ran into the hole and paid for 208,000 square foot studio they didn't use. Mr. Luke says, I'm going to look up what offline games I own. I'll need super cheap. I've been going to GameStop recently and looking at games that obviously are single player games and don't need to be online in any way, shape, or form. And man, you can get them for like dollars, $5, $10. Remember, I bought these games when I had my PlayStation. I still have my PlayStation 4, but I got The Last of Us. I got Horizon. I got Avengers. And I got Spider-Man. And I have God of War. Where's God of War? I have God of War as well, and MLB The Show. 4 games I got less than $30. Get the same games and go to the digital store now and see how much you're paying for them. Right? And I bought these years ago, obviously. Right? I didn't just buy these. Right? But if physical goes away, you don't get discounts. You pay higher prices all the time. Why do people still believe that these greedy companies? It's amazing to me. I'm just waiting. I just want to know, how does physical media hurt people that are buying digital? I just want to know if someone can give me an answer how physical media physically stops you as a gamer to buy digital games still, if there's physical games. Because it makes no sense for someone to defend Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, or any other corporation that doesn't want to make physical media anymore. No, it's not counted as a unit sale. Maybe he misspoke, but DLC is counted as digital sale. All of it. We've covered this multiple times on our channel. Anytime you download a skin or DLC or anything, Battle Pass, all that stuff is counted as a digital sale. This is why Microsoft and Sony don't separate the things. It's just all digital sales. Eldete says GameStop selling a used copy stops them from making second sales. Yeah, because they only make 15% off the physical sales when they sell them originally. And then they're not making any money off of the other ones. They only make money off the new sales. They don't want that. They want to enclose that. I don't want Crimson Desert 1.0. I want the latest version. They're working on disc. Offline people will never get mounts. I mean, with games like that, that's just the way it is. That's a live service game, even though it's a single player game. Again, not all games fit the narrative of you have to have a physical copy. If you want a physical copy and you want to get the update, you still own the disc. If you're a collector, you can own the disc of Crimson Desert. Again, I want to know a point of why physical media, for you as a customer, right, would hurt you as a digital consumer. I'm still waiting for someone to give me an answer how physical stops you, okay, as a customer of digital. Because I don't care about digital. I care about choice. You guys, some of you are fighting for, well, digital is better than physical. That's your opinion. I'm fighting for choice. Most times, also, they don't stop games from being updated once they stop support. Steam would like a word with this. See, you're fighting the wrong battle here. Steam gives you choice. I can download my games if I want to on a PC and Steam and still own those games. I can get around it by downloading the game and burning it on a disc if I want to, right? If I go to GOG, I can actually buy the game and own the digital rights to that game, okay? I can also purchase my games from Epic Games Store. I can purchase it from GOG. I can purchase it from Steam. What are you buying? What stores are you buying off of the Sony PlayStation Store? What store are you buying off of the Microsoft Store? Where's your choice? See, with physical, I could buy from Target, Best Buy, Walmart, Amazon, all the stuff, and I can put it into the system. Choice. See, you think I'm fighting for digital's bad, which I'm not. I'm fighting for choice, because without choice, you lose the power. And if they get rid of the choice, then they have all the power. And if you like that, then there's no reason for anything. You could just keep buying what you're buying because it doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form. For the rest of us that actually want choice, this is why we speak up. Crowd says, my prediction is the most of the adult gaming audience is going to turn their back on this shit, and these companies are going to lose a lot of money. Sure. And then something will happen. And then when it does happen, then people will be like, oh, look, we have choice. Albania says you could turn GOG to physical. It's easy. Yeah. He's the I'm the spy meme. Yeah. Hey, I don't understand. I'm still waiting to find out why digital, okay, why you guys hate physical when you buy digital. How does it affect you in any way, shape, or form that physical still exists? I mean, I know why it does affect you in a good way, because without physical, you wouldn't have the sales that you have with digital. The reason there's sales is because physical still exists and they have to compete, because you can still go buy a physical copy for cheaper, but they have to entice you by saying, oh, we'll give you sales. I don't hate physical at all. I don't like the dishonest of the argument in favor of physical is. There's no favor in physical. That is not my stance in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that physical is the dominant one over this, and I'm not saying digital is this. I've been saying the exact same thing the entire time. Choice. If you get rid of the physical, it completely changes the landscape of gaming because they control all the power. There is no other choice for you to buy a video game. We need to improve the digital purchases or protected. There is no protection of digital at all in the United States. If you live in the UK and stuff like that, 100% they're making ways for it. There is no protection. Aku says physical protection needs better protection as well. Physical and digital purchases of software have the exact same rights. That is none. Yes, Aku, we've made this point before, but come to my house and grab my collection. Or just pull the plug on my digital stuff. Yes, I don't own the fucking disc, but it's my disc and I can still put it in my machine and you can't stop me. That's a huge difference, regardless of what the rights are. Sarge says, no choice means price fixing and monopolized sales. It's because you have still choice. More, do you not see this? Do you not see the reason that Blu-rays are what they are? You still have choice. There's still other people making Blu-rays. There's still other ways for you to watch the movie. You don't have to buy a specific Blu-ray player to get the Blu-ray to work. You just have to get a Blu-ray player. Right? There's options for you to buy the actual thing. You can purchase that disc from different stores. You can then take that disc and hand it to someone and lend it to them. You can use the disc as a coaster. You can use it as a frisbee. Aku says, yes, digital is easier. I'm just saying that people need to understand that nothing's changed digital to physical. I want everything to protect better. Your protection of your actual physical stuff, Aku, is you're protected. Meaning no one can take your physical stuff away unless a natural disaster happens, someone raids your house and steals your shit, okay? Your physical goods are protected because they can't get to them. Digital, they go, IP, done, delete. Like, I don't understand how anyone's against choice. And I'm not saying you are against choice. I'm just saying in general. I don't understand anyone that's against choice. Exactly, Titan. It's not even limiting choice. It's just deleting choice. They're deleting choice. Yeah, Shadow. Digital, in some way, shape, or form, is going to go down. Because there could be a power grid and you can't connect to the server, or the company goes out and you don't expect them to keep their servers up if the company goes bankrupt, do you? Right? They would have to, right? The only insurance that you have is like, oh, well, Sony's a big company. Microsoft's a big company. They're never going to go out of business. So I buy this, and that's the trade, right? You're like, I'm going to buy this because they're one of the big companies in the world. They're not going to delete my stuff, are they? And then they do. And then you kind of like talk yourself out of it. You're like, well, that's okay. I didn't really watch that movie, or I didn't really care about that stuff anyway. No big deal. And then you buy more. If I play, Mr. Luke says, does your Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 working again? Yeah, they work on the original system. Yeah, I could plug in my original system and play it, but you can't buy it. You can't buy it off the thing because they're licensing. So you can't play the Transformers games. You can't buy the Transformers games or anything like that. If I own the physical disc, which we did, right? I own the physical discs of these games. I put them into my Xbox 360 and we played them. Yeah, we played it on stream. PS3 and Vita stores are shutting down. Yeah, and what is that? How old is that? We're talking 15, 20 years? Is it reasonable for them to keep those stores open because of the sales they're making? Probably not. Could they sell those copies? You can go buy those copies still. You still have choice to go buy those games if the store's closing down, right? For digital stuff. But you can go purchase those games. Now, do I believe that PlayStation or Sony and Microsoft, if they make the next PlayStation 6, should it be able to play the 3? I do. I believe that's on them. They should let all the games they've made for their systems work on their new systems as a selling point for their customers of buying the systems. Should they keep the store open? No, they can let the store die. That's 2 generations now, right? Yeah, you can't play them on the X because of whatever licensing deals it is, right? But if I have my Xbox, I plug my Xbox in, I can play it. Some games you can. It all depends on which ones they put over. Yeah, when did PlayStation 3 and was it 2005, 2006 it came out? Right? It was like, it's been like 20 years. Can you imagine someone that's on the 3 that just bought like the 4? Even though we're in the 5, almost the 6 now? Shadow says, I get that most won't care about the old systems, but the point is that will happen to the digital systems eventually as well. Well, what happens? Let's fast forward. What time is it? 12:17. What happens in 2040? 2040, let's say 2045, 2050, even say. And someone looks back at 2026 and everything's digital at this point. So it's like, what happens that time frame? You can't buy those games anymore. Right? There's no used store where you can purchase those games. So anything that comes out after a certain period of time, you'll be like, I can't buy that game. Had it been there. And the only way you'll be able to play it is if they recreate and make a remake of it. Or they port it over to the new system. You can't go purchase that game and put it into your system to play. Which I guess is fine because people are like, well, I don't want to play old games. Sure. But if you could, you have a choice. But I guess people don't really care. So it's just out of sight, out of mind. Like, they don't sell Ken Griffey Jr. baseball anymore, but I own it, and I own the system. And I can put that in the system and play it. To this day. I don't have to wait for a server. I don't have to wait for stuff. Right? And me owning that, and me being able to play that, doesn't hurt anybody that wants to buy digital. Just buy my own stuff. Right? And if I want to buy the game, if I didn't have the game, I can go find a collector that has the game, and I can buy that game. He can give it to me. He can lend it to me. I'm like, hey, can I borrow Ken Griffey Jr. baseball? I have this N64 that I want to use. And they're like, yeah, sure, here you go. Right? I could do that. You can't do that with digital. Chat says, this is why hackers and modders were a good thing. Look, there's a lot of stuff you can do on the PC, and this is why I say people should go towards PC, because if you don't care and you're just blinded and you want to be in your own little world, but if you're a person that cares about stuff, you could get physical. You can make physical stuff. You can get the discs that you want, right? You can play the games you want to play, and if you're not buying it to own it, what's the problem then? Chopper Eric says, all the data centers will hold the keys to our video games once 2040 comes around. Mr. Luke says, my point is, if you have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 on disc, and I have them digi on my Xbox X, can I play them even when the license ended, or them to sell it like on PlayStation? Will they all them movies? Okay, so as of right now, like, there's been rumors that they're putting Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 back. They're delisting them, so they'd be listed again. Okay, because of the licensing of the Transformers and whatnot, right? If they put those back up, let's say they sign a 7-year contract, and you have those discs, you would be able to put it in your Xbox, and then you would be able to play it because it's back out there. Because it's delisted, you can't access it. So if you put that disc in the thing, it doesn't see it. But even because it's delisted, you have your old system, you could put it in and play it on the old system. You can't play it on the new system because the new system's got parameters that say this game is not accessible, right? So 7 years from now, let's say they access it again, you own the game, and the contract dies again. Well, then you won't be able to purchase it again, and it won't work again unless you owned a physical thing. Now, maybe with the digital, and people, maybe you guys can verify this because it's happened to some people. If you own it before it gets delisted on that system, can you still play it digitally? Or are you locked out of it as well? I think you can play it as long as you purchased it, okay, and it gets delisted because you own it. It says, oh, you owned it, so you can still play it. Yes, I can and have. Thank you. There you go. Right? As long as you purchased it beforehand and it's not delisted, once it's delisted, you can't purchase it. And because you've never activated it in your system, it knows you don't own it. The PS4 Deadpool game, you can't play it or buy it because of the license is over. Yeah, but if you own it, can't you still play it? We played it years ago. Unfortunately, a lot of D-list games become very expensive. Sure. Yeah, the Transformers game was like $240. And then I found a used copy of it and paid $28. My name is IGN. He says, I don't think you're quite right about this. I have a red Deadpool game and can play it on the Series X, and it's delisted. Right, because you own the game. That's why I said, I'm not sure. I said, if you own the game and you put it in the disc, if that was ported over, Ultimate Alliance was not. Certain games can access and certain games cannot. That's why I have to play Ultimate Alliance in my Xbox 360. Oh, that's true, Luke. It's also because you're in the UK, so that may be completely different over there. Jesse Max says, yeah, you can still play Deadpool. I got Transformers game delisted. It's still on my account. Right, but do you have the digital? Or you have the physical? And are you playing on PC or are you playing on console? I say we just shut the industry down. No physical or digital for anyone. Well, that's a little... I like video games. I love video games. I don't want it to go anywhere. That's why I want choice. No, what I said, my name is IGN, is what I said was that I'm not sure, right? I said if you bought the game ahead of time and it gets delisted digitally, I don't know, okay, because I've never bought a digital game and then it got delisted. I have the physical games, and I can't purchase on Ultimate Alliance or those games because they're delisted, so you can't buy them. But if you own the disc, you can put it in and you can play it. I said I don't know about the digital. Yeah, but are you playing it on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X or Series S? Well, there's no disk drive. Or are you playing it on PC? Well, you could have bought it before it got delisted digitally. That's what I'm talking about. If buying a PC was such a game changer for me, only after being a console gamer. Yeah, there's a lot more options with the PC. Shadow says Teenage Mutant Turtles Mutants' Mayhem was also a great game. Got delisted. Thankfully, the game never really rose in price, and I can still bought it for a reasonable price. PS5 account is on DL list of games. Chopper Eric says, if you got Forza Horizon 4 on Steam before it got delisted, you're free to play it, delete it, and reinstall it. Right, because you owned it already. Right, people like if it's on there, you can't. If it's on there before it gets delisted and you buy it, then yes, you have to have the key or you have to have access to something. Right, the disc drive's like, okay, you own the disc or you bought it digitally beforehand. It's delisted. You want to play it. It's like, okay, you've owned it before, or you got the disc and you put it in. Correct. You own the disc, so it's reading it as you owned the copy. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you never owned the disc before and you go find a copy of the disc and you bring it to your thing, it accesses and says, okay, you own the copy, so we'll let you play the game. I was asking for digital. If you bought the digital ahead of time, it got delisted after. Can you access that? That was my question. I didn't know about the digital games. I know about physical. I do the physical all the time. Certain games are accessed on the box and certain games aren't. But you can still play it if you own the old systems. Like, I own the physical game of fucking Battleborn. Can't play the shit out of it because they took it down. They scrapped it. It's gone. Now it's just a coaster. We'll see what happens in the future, though. Yeah, I know, Eclipse. You can on PC. I know. I mean, even when we played that Transformers game a couple years ago, you were like, "Oh, you can get it on PC." I was like, "Thank you." And you sent me the link. Delisting doesn't mean it's taking away from your account. Battleborn. Got delisted. Can't play it. They're just taking away physical so they can bring it back in 5 years for 2,000 limited PlayStation 6 physical with $300 physical games. If that's the way they want to do it, that's fine. Make the problem solve the solution. And people, they sell out, and then pre-orders actually matter again because people that pre-order the game are like, "Oh, I want a physical copy." Then sure. Yeah, 100%. There are cases that they've completely removed games. Hence why Stop Killing Games with the crew and stuff like that is happening because they're like, well, we're okay with you shutting the game down, but we don't want you to take it away from us. Hence why there's preservation. That's another reason we talk about going full digital, that they're trying to figure out a preservation type of way with these digital games for the future, for people to go look back and like a museum, just like any other art piece. Again, this is not a conversation of digital's bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying full digital is bad, and there needs to be choice, hence why there needs to be physical. All right, it's 12:30. PlayStation announced that the PS account you are not using it for 36 inactive months, and they will cancellation of your account. Yeah, after another 6 months. So after 3 years of inactivation of your PlayStation, then they notify you, and if you don't respond within 6 months of that, which is 3.5 years, then they can take away your stuff. At that point, I would assume that you're probably not playing games on them their platform anymore. I don't agree with it because you should keep all the stuff that you have in that time that you've bought, but they can take it away from you. Now think about how that works, right? Obviously, it's if you're on PlayStation 5, let's say you were inactive, but now you have a PlayStation 6. Does all those games, because you're not going back to your PlayStation 5, your account's not active on there, do you lose the games that you paid for over there? And it doesn't move forward? That's what I would like to know. Because it's your account, but the games are on your account on the other PlayStation. So activating your account after 36 months, you get that, email. And they're like, you have 6 months. You're like, all right, I'm going to activate it. I bought a brand new PlayStation 6. Does that activate it and then keep all your stuff? Or do you have to activate on the PlayStation 5 to keep it active? I mean, in the world that they shouldn't be able to touch any of the stuff that you bought, right? In the world that we would like. If I buy your game, that's my game. You shouldn't be able to take it away from me after any amount of time. Like if Steam said that about playing the game in 3 years, it's deleted. Right. Shadow says, I barely use my Xbox account and still don't want them to delete my games. Right, because you bought the games. That's what I'm saying. Shadow says, but logging into what exactly console or PC shouldn't matter. This is why more people are going to move towards PC. They'll pay the extra money for PC because there's choice there. There's multiple places that they can buy the game, even though it's digital. Okay, there's more places they can buy the game. There's more protection that you could download. Even if they don't give you the protection, being on a PC, there's ways around it where you can protect your games and make backups for your games and emulators and different things. Technology is going to go move forward regardless or not, but at the same time, if you speak up, they delay it. They stop it. They change their ways. They find other ways to do it. And if people don't think that not speaking up doesn't do anything, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. There's been plenty of just cases the last couple of years where they raise prices and we're like, we don't like this. People stop supporting it. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, just kidding. I mean, it's happened multiple times. They're like, oh, you have to sign up for the thing. And then we're like, no, we're not signing up. They're like, all right, just kidding. We're not going to let you sign up. Change happens all the time if people push back on it, because without the customers, the companies have nothing. It's just how it is. How do you say your screen name? You can just call me 30. It's 30 NSG. It stands for news, shows, and gaming. Well, actually, what it really stands for is 30N Still Gaming. But we dropped the Still Gaming. That's our other channel, 30N Still Gaming. And then NSG, I shortened it because on this channel, we do news, shows, and gaming. We talk about gaming. Ron says, if I buy a Big Mac from McDonald's, do I own or can I take it away from me? I mean, if you eat it, they can't take it away from you. But if you're just holding it and they don't want you there, they can give me that burger. And then you'll be on one of those police, body cam videos, Ron. And if that happens, let us know. Let us know, and then so we can TiVo it. Someone's like, TiVo? Did he just say fucking TiVo? That's right, Crowded. Remember, if buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing. That's correct. Because you were never going to own it anyway. Shadow says, if I log onto my PlayStation account from PC, it should still count as a login. I just want to know, though, is it exclusive? Like he was saying, it goes back to the PlayStation 3. So as long as you stay within the PlayStation ecosystem, you don't have a problem, right? Or is it just partitioned for each of the console generations? But that's not the real question there, Choco. How upsetting does it make you that Jason still owns a PlayStation 3 from 2007? That's the real question. Him owning a physical item back then, how does that affect you? I'm still waiting to hear how physical disrupts your gaming experience. Eldon says, can you hear me? I literally just said, did he just reference TiVo? Do you remember when we used to have to record our shows on VHS and you just had that one VHS in your player and you just recorded it? So it was like recording show after show after show. You guys remember that? I remember that. Iron says it disrupts it by pretending it disrupts it. Got it. How dare you? How dare you, Jason? How dare you like something that you own? How dare you, sir? I have all my stuff. Okay, what do you guys want? What do you guys want? You want the PlayStation 4? Do you want the Do you want this is the best system. This is the best system. PlayStation 2 is the best system by far. This is I think one of my favorite consoles I've ever owned in my entire life. Do you want the Xbox 360 Black Edition? What right? This is a good system. This was peak gaming back then as well. I got the One, the Switch, the U, the Cube. Yeah, PlayStation 2 and the Xbox 360, peak gaming. You see, when I want to play something, I take that thing, I put it up, plug it in, and I play a game. I know it's so inconvenient for everyone that's digital. It's crazy. I think my Toy Terry is still around somewhere. We still have ours. Still works. Still works. Is that a Game Boy? Yeah, this one right here. Original Game Boy. What I really have to do, because you can fix this, is I would have to take it apart and then just replace the glass. But let me see. That's right. Still works. I got Mario 2 in there. That's right. I still have batteries in the fucking thing because I still play it. That's right. But I know that hurts some of you guys. I know me having that physical thing there and playing it, like, I know it disrupts your digital lives. Oh, you want the micro? Hold on. I have to go find it. Give me a second. Give me a second. My son has it somewhere, Z. I don't know where it is. Yeah, Mr. Z gave me the old micro, the little game thing. It was awesome. I never owned that, and he gave it to me when we met up last time. Very cool. How dare you pay Nintendo $60 to get that much on your Switch? It's funny because my son's got the Switch 2 now. So he brought his Switch 1 in here and put it down below with the rest of the consoles. Here, I'll look it up. I'll show you what the micro is that he gave me. This is the micro he gave me. It's a tiny little gaming color. It's good. He gave me a little headphone jack. You can play the games. Yeah, but IGN, we're not arguing what you like better, right? People like what they like. That's not the argument. There's people saying that physical should be like go away and digital is the future. And all we're saying is the people that want physical still want physical, which doesn't disrupt you as the gamer, you as a customer to get your digital stuff. Like you can still buy your digital stuff. No one's taking that away. We're not fighting for physical versus digital. That's not what we're arguing about. We're arguing about if you take physical away, then there is no competition. There is no box stores. There is no secondhand shops. There is none of that. It's just digital. It is what it is, right? And I didn't say you're arguing, right? I'm saying people that are arguing that they want just digital, right? And my statement still stands. How does physical affect people that just want digital? It doesn't. So the people making a stand trying to protect Sony or Microsoft of, well, that's just the way it is, you're not part of the conversation. Because if you don't care, then just keep paying the digital, right? Yeah, for those people who want digital, have fun. When you get banned and lose all your games. Yeah, but that's their choice. All I'm saying is I want a choice to buy stuff. That's it. As he says, Steam Deck OG is still fine. Save my OLED gooning for my 42-inch ultra-wide LG Ultra Gear. It's amazing. Exactly, IGN. Yeah, I'm not against you or arguing with you in any way, shape, or form. I'm speaking in general because other people are talking in the channel, and I'm still waiting for someone to say, well, yeah, you having physical wrecks my ability to play digital. It doesn't make any sense. Where the opposite would work. If physical goes away, then digital, then everyone's like, oh no, there's digital sales now on Sony and Microsoft. Correct, there is. And the reason that there is because there's still physical. Once the physical goes away, right? Once the physical goes away, and then there's just digital on the platform, and you can only buy on their platform because there is no disk drive. This is the closed ecosystem they have. Games won't go on sale as much, and they will stay at the higher price for longer, and they can raise the price because there is no other choice, right? There's stats and studies showed already that less and less people are buying brand new games because they're too expensive, right? They're only buying 2 to 3 games, mostly less, right? 2 games a year, right? That's digital or physical. They're only buying 2 to 3 games a year. Right? This channel, we buy multiple, right? I have, 6 or 7 games on Steam that we played this year. Scott Wilson says people think they're going to just lose all of their games overnight. Are you all serious? Get real? Who thinks they're going to lose all their games? I mean, potentially. I mean, you could, Scott, because right now, they took 501 movies away on the Sony platform because of licensing deals. So literally in a blink of an eye, you could lose it. I don't care about any of that. I'm talking again choice. If you want to play all digital, play all digital. But why are you mad at people that want physical? It makes no sense. And I'm not saying you specifically, just in general. Like literally, we actually know people that their whole library got deleted because Sony said so. I mean, I'll tell you. So yeah, there could be where you lose all your games. These guys are going to get crashed out when they learn about disc rot? No, we know about disc rot because the people that actually collect stuff and do stuff, hence why I talked about it earlier, where I can take the discs and I can back them up. I know it's crazy. I know people can't fathom that. Scott says, Sarge, they're not taking your movies. A fourth-party license expired. No, they are taking your movies. The license expired, and the people that bought the films, Scott, can no longer watch the films that they bought because the license expired. They 100% are taking your movies. 100%. Like, if I owned Rambo and I bought it on PlayStation and the license expired for Rambo, I can no longer watch Rambo on my PlayStation. They literally did that. Not speculation. Like, they literally did that. They did it with Crunchyroll as well. Just last year, 2 years ago. Yeah, as long as you don't leave it out in the fucking garage or in your attic, you'll be fine. Like what are you putting it next to your dehumidifier for 20 years? I don't understand. Scott says, I also enjoy my physical collection. I like boxes for shelves. There are also some people here who also have literally no idea what they're talking about, though. But you literally just said that they're not taking your stuff away from you. But we just pointed to you that they are. They did it for movies. So why would it change for video games if they went all digital? We could take one data point and go, well, this happened here, so it's likely to happen here. Not saying it is. Jason says, I leave my games underwater. I hear that's safe. Yeah, I put all my games in my fish tank that I don't own. I just said, yeah, Sony didn't want to pay for the licensing fee. Some movies last week and caused 500 movies to be deleted that people paid for and at no warning. Yeah, they just took them away from them. It's when the film literally lifts off of the actual disc. And it happens when you put it in certain places and heat and stuff because it makes the film come off of the actual disc. You don't want it in too dry of a climate, but you also don't want it in a super moist area as well. Just being in your house is okay. Hence why disc rot is not a major problem. You find it in storage facilities and stuff like that. You find it when you're in the humidity. Mr. D says, I only had disc rot on a CD. I burned myself, and Sony PlayStation 2 have always layers. Pretty nice, and they don't care. Yep. I don't think I've ever had any of my discs have disc rot, and I own a lot of discs. Scrub says, you're all being way too literal. The point is, nothing is forever. The critical thinking ability here is, what are you talking about? We are arguing about choice. You guys are arguing about physical stuff, and you're like, well, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, and we have a conversation about it. But this is how conversations work. I don't know if you know that more. Sam says, I brought my 200 CD book to the beach. Was so cool. Now I have no discs. Oops. Did the tie come in? What happened? 30. Just accept the Rod argument. Don't be such a disc. You could say dick. It's all right. I like the play on words. 5 points. 5 points to Gryffindor. I think you'd be more Hufflepuff. Definitely not Slytherin. They're already converting the factory. Right? They're already converting the factory. Like, we're done. Like, we're not going back. This is it. They're going digital. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And if nothing happens, then do you know what I mean? Become a fellow discless, bro. And if nothing happens and life goes on and Sony's profits go up because they're not making physical anymore, so they don't have to take a percentage away, then cool. But if at this point, 4 years from now, right? At this point, like 4 years into the thing where there's no discs being made from Sony, and they go, well, Sony, again, potential. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but they're like, oh, Sony is the lowest that we've ever had for sales for consoles. Be like, who couldn't see this coming? Same with Microsoft. You know, that's one thing we never got into, at least me personally, the laser discs. Never got into laser discs, but man, I used to have a friend that had all the laser discs. We used to go over his house and watch them. Phenomenal quality. Con says, no, I have a 4K Blu-ray player, better quality than the shit Netflix offers. Yeah, Netflix doesn't. A lot of people. Well, this is talking about what we talked about in the past, Crowded, where most people don't even know the right HDMI cable plugged in. They don't understand 4K. They don't understand 1080p. They don't understand 1440. They don't understand 60 frames or 120 frames or 30 frames. Most of people, they buy Netflix. They're like, oh yeah, I got 4K download, and they watch it, and it's nowhere near 4K quality. But people like, yeah, I buy that plan. All right, cool. If you say so. Meanwhile, their internet speed's not even big enough for them to get that quality. And then obviously Netflix also, you know, keeps it low quality. They have no idea.
I sense a new from Soft Game. Discless restore the world to its physical glory. Defeat the digital Lord Tony.
Thank you for that. Here you go. You can.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. I used to use mini discs. Then I worked into the freezer at work, so skipping or jumping like CD players. Kyle says, I guess people forgot the human beings don't actually live that long. My physical media will still be here when I'm not. So fuck off. Yeah, I mean, you can't watch them while you're dead. And maybe your kids can watch them afterwards, right? Like, I still have VHS tapes my parents gave me. Yeah, when I went to go look, Luke, we went to go look, because you're saying the Deadpool game. When we went to go look for the Transformers game, because I owned it, but I loaned it to a friend. He never gave it back to me, so I had to buy the physical disc again, right? Because you couldn't buy the digital version, right? And I owned the copy of it, so I had to find another copy of it. And when we were looking online and stuff like that, it was like $280. And I was like, holy shit! I was like, I'm not paying $280 for a game I used to own, right? And then I saw an eBay listing. And it was like, I think it was like $240. And then I looked at a local place and they said they had a copy and they had it for $40. And I was like, I'll be right there. And I traveled, I want to say about 40 minutes away. I used to live over in that area. I don't live there anymore. And then went to the place. There was like this small little mom and pop shop inside like a mall. And like went in there, started talking the person up and stuff like that, and they gave it to me for less. And I was like, this is amazing. So I paid, I think it was like $36 where I could have paid $200 and something. I was like, yeah, I'm not paying that. I mean, you could ask for a price and someone could pay that price. I'm not paying that price. He says, I'm going to haunt a house to play Star Wars for me. Be like, is your house haunted? It is. It's weird. The guy just wants to watch Star Wars. And they're like, well, that's kind of weird. They're like, yeah, it's some old movie. I don't know. They used to watch back in the 1900s. But for some reason, every time we put on Star Wars Episode 7, like shit gets knocked off our shelves. So we realized that it's just 1 to 6. We don't even watch Disney Plus, but we pay a monthly subscription because our ghost just loves it. All right, it's almost 1 o'clock. All right. We're going to end it there. We'll be back tonight for 30 and Still Gaming over on our other channel. We'll play some video games tonight. We're going to play some more Enshrouded, the PC version, because console's not out yet, and it doesn't come out to Xbox until next year. So we're playing the PC version of that. I believe it's on sale right now. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, but the Summerfest is going on. I think Enshrouded's at like $23 right now. We'll be back tomorrow for the Daily Grind as well, Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We also do a podcast on Thursday nights called Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. I've been going back for all of our past broadcasts for GXG. There's time codes and stamp stuff now that you can click on. I'm doing that for the past shows of this as well. So later today, if you missed any of this.
Every time I pull the trigger, it's like ghosts in the smoke. No suppression, no pressure, this ain't the old code. Grinding all night for that scope I need. But every upgrade feels like I'm planting seeds in concrete. Yeah, battlefield's back, we'll fix it, please. Hey, hey. Battlefield's right. Hey, hey. We'll fix it, please. Hit the tensions while bring it to its knees. Maps look good, but don't play right. Every flank turns into a fire with light. Still, we're storming through the fire and steel. Cause damn, it finally feels real. Battlefield's back, but fix it, please. Smooth launch, yeah, I can't believe my eyes. Call of Duty players jumping in, switching sides. Jet flybys, tanks on parade. But these spawn points got me feeling betrayed. I want that chaos, that old school thrill. Not running 10 miles just to die on a hill. So patch it up, dice, we know you can. Don't lose your soul to the same old plan. Yeah, battlefield's back, but fix it.